didn't know you could go up and cut.
A month. All right, we ready. Shalom, everybody. Wait for people to, gather themselves together in the spirit. Right? Shalom, my Rum family. Shalom, my Israelite family. I'm going to give people a little bit of time to kind of collect themselves. Shalom, sis, household of Alayahs. Today, I'm going to go into Deuteronomy 29 and going into the different contexts of stranger. No. Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of misappropriation of context when you see the word stranger. Okay, and that's been going around on YouTube. It's going around on Clubhouse. And see, the thing is, the reason why it's not a long-winded debate when it comes to salvation for Israel only versus can Gentiles be included within that salvation. It's not long-winded. You know why? Because it's the very purpose, right? When it comes to the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, it's the very concept of salvation for the whole world. It was invented to make you feel less of yourself as the nation that God chose. That's what it's there for. When the Lord says you are a special people, just know you're so special that He sent His Son to only die for you. How about that? Right? But what Christianity has done is replaced the volume or the narrative with everyone else can be conjoined to this salvation. How dare you say the blood of the Lamb or the blood of the Son of God cannot cleanse a Edomite? Well, that's not the purpose of why He came. Edom will be eradicated for their transgressions against Israel. Israel has transgressions that they need to be forgiven for in order to inherit the promises that was given to Abraham. He said your seed would inherit the land. Israel broke the covenant, broke the laws, but it did not disannul the promise. Because God is not going to lie. God didn't lie to Abraham and said, your seed is going to inherit this land. He did not lie when He said that. When God speaks His word, give me that. It's going to start off Isaiah 55, verse 11. When God speaks, it comes to pass. And Him speaking through His Son, right? It comes to pass because He is the prophet of the Most High. Give me that in John 14 and verses 28, I believe. John 14, 28, and Hebrews 11 and 1. Shalom, huh? Good to see you.
John 14, 28. This is John chapter 14, verse 28. Ye have heard how I said unto you, I go away.
See, ye have heard, right? Read that again.
Ye have heard how I said unto you,
How I said unto you, go ahead.
I go away,
I go away,
and come again unto you.
and come again. So Yahweh Shai said, I'm going to ascend to the Father. There's going to be a time when I'm not going to be here on earth. But I got to pray for you. Who is he praying for? Israel.
That's right.
Because they broke the covenant. They need forgiveness. And by faith in Yahweh Shai being that atonement for their sins, right, they can inherit the promises, right? Yahweh Shai got to go present himself to the Father. Go ahead.
And come again unto you.
Mm-hmm.
If ye love me, ye will rejoice. Because I said, I go unto the Father, for my Father is greater than I.
Right, go ahead.
And now I have told you before.
And now I have told you before. Go ahead.
It come to pass.
Before it come to pass. Listen, Yahweh Shai said this 2,000 years ago. I told you that I was going to leave before it come to pass, and I'm going to come before it come to pass. I told you that so it can be registered in your minds. Why? Go ahead.
That when it is come to pass, ye might believe.
That when it is come to pass, you might believe. Why? Yahweh Shai was a prophet. Luke 1:76, and Hebrews 1:1.
Luke 1:6.
It's 176.
This is Luke chapter 1, verse 76. And thou, child, shalt be called the prophet of the highest.
Who is the angel talking about? Yahweh Shai. Go ahead.
For thou shalt go before the face of the Lord to prepare his ways.
This is talking about John, right? He's going to go before the Lord, right? Go ahead.
To give knowledge of salvation.
To give knowledge of salvation. Go ahead.
Unto his people.
Unto who?
Unto his people.
Unto his people. The knowledge of salvation unto his people. Go ahead.
By the remission of their sins.
By the remission of their sins. Go ahead.
That's a lot. Mm-hmm. To give knowledge of salvation.
Bring up the precept.
This is Luke chapter 1, verse 77. To give knowledge.
76.
Verse 76. And thou, child, shalt be called the prophet of the highest.
Thy child shall be called the prophet of the highest. That's Yahweh Shai. Right? Go ahead.
For thou shalt go before the face of the Lord to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of salvation unto his people by the remission of their sins.
Go ahead.
Through the tender mercy of God, of our God, whereby the spring from on high hath visited us.
See, the Most High hath visited the children of Israel by sending John, then Yahweh Shai, to show Israel that he's opening up an opportunity for them to return to inherit the promises. Because we broke the covenant. We made an agreement with our God. He did not make an agreement with any other nation. He did not make a covenant with Moabites, with Gibeonites like you hear in Clubhouse, with Midianites like you hear in Clubhouse, with Ammonites, with Edomites, with Ishmaelites. He did not do that. Give me Hebrews 1:1.
It's the book of Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 1. God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets.
See, the prophets spoke in diverse manners by the prophets. That's how the Father spoke to who? The Israelites. The children of Israel. While we're sitting here, look at the beautiful black Hispanic people that I'm looking at right now. And West Indian people, right? Caribbean people, Native American people, children and everything, right? We are in this land and we read, and your teacher sits up, whether you were in kindergarten or 12th grade or in college, and teaches your history and tells you you came here on slave ships, You were enslaved. The Bible already educated us that this would happen to us. This was our first curriculum. And it's still our curriculum. That's how we're able to educate ourselves, right? And re-indoctrinate ourselves with God's laws. Right? Go ahead, finish that.
The book of Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 2 hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son.
See, the prophet of the Most High spoken unto us. Who's this? Us, the Israelites. When Yahushua said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel, you got these Israelites saying, well, wait, Lord, the Midianites, Jethro made a sacrifice to you and helped Moses create the Sanhedrin. I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But no, my Lord. But no, my Lord. What about the Gibeonites? Go ahead.
The Gibeonites, aren't they Canaanites?
They're Canaanites, huh?
So aren't the Canaanites
Not able.
not declared not to
Exactly.
enter into the kingdom?
Exactly. They can't enter into the holy place of the Lord. They can be on the earth, but they can't offer up sacrifices to the Lord. They can't.
Real quick, and isn't Esau supposed to be killed off?
Yeah, Esau's going to be gone. But they have their ways around that too. This is why we're going to go into the context of the stranger and show you Rumgadal Barium's position on it, right? And give the context and the etymology of these words that are used. In English, you'll see stranger, but in Hebrew is another word. And then there's context to things, right? So the Lord spoke to the children of Israel through who in these last days? The prophet of the Most High, the Son of the living God, Mashiach Yahushua. I tell my kids all the time, you got your teacher when you go into school, right? But then you got Mashiach Yahushua. He's your king. He's my king. Yahushua can put his foot on my neck. What can I do about it? Nothing. Right? He's the one that's going to authorize who's in the kingdom and who's not. Right? And that was for the Israelites. Otherwise, you would see Moab have a gate. You would see Ammon have a gate.
Right.
You would see Edom have a gate. Midian have a gate. Ishmael have a gate. But the 12 sons of Jacob have gates. So where is all this conundrum coming from? It's coming from people's subjective views that was inspired by Catholicism. New International Version Bibles, it was created, the New International Version Bible, to make it an international thing. If there was no such thing as Catholicism, if this Bible was not sitting in the Roman Catholic Church or in the Christian Church, and it was just respected as the Hebrews record, and it was respected as the Hebrews laws, we would not be debating right now. But because man took this book and saw its power and saw the wisdom that it granted to establish kingdoms, powers, and it gives you sovereignty, right? It gives you liberation and freedom from other men because you have the most excelled science and the most excelled law on the planet. You can deceive the masses by taking it and making it include. Everyone's included, except the people of Israel. It's mine. So they have to create dogma around it, and you have to tear down the walls of the Christian dogma that is fortified around this book. But if that was not the case, if Hebrews just kept to their laws and say this, we got to do this, we don't believe in homosexuality, we live in our own land, yada, 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 they wouldn't care. But because of its power, because of its wisdom, because of what it provides, because it teaches you how to develop principles just within your home, counsel in your marriage. They need to make it this was ours. And it's for everyone. Now, everyone can apply the wisdom behind it. We're not saying that a Moabite, and I see Elamites, I deliver for FedEx. So when I deliver to Elamite apartment buildings, I can't stand the damn curry smell. But I always say they need the God's laws, man. Not now. Listen, that is shut off for them. There's no temple for them to offer sacrifices because they'll just pervert it without Yahushua being. They'll be setting up Krishna in that. You ain't going in there with a red dot on your forehead and throwing a damn rat on God's altar. You're not sneaking none of that in here. Y'all got to see judgment first, and y'all have to respect the God of Israel through this judgment. But
So book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5.
bring it out.
Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should go do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom.
This is your wisdom
and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
This is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. They're going to see you, right, and how we treat our women and how we offer up sacrifice. Listen, there are laws in the Bible, right? When you go into what's called idolatry, the word idolatry roots to a Hebrew word that is defined by vanities. You go over to East India. The reason why East India is dying from so much disease is because they believe in this vanity and this idolatry. They literally have rivers where they put dead corpses in them and they bathe in them and they put ashes of the dead in there. And what happens? A vanity has deceived them. The God Krishna is offering us blessing. No, you're dying from disease. That's unclean.
Don't they put the red dot, right? It was because of the period.
Yeah, the period from the goddess, I think, Kali. That's her period blood. And they take it and they put it on their forehead. Remember, I tell you, there's nothing new, right? There's nothing new. Why do you think, E.T., the extraterrestrial, his finger lit up? Remember the enlightened ones, Lucifer? He pointed to his pineal gland and said, I will always be here. He was represented as Pan or Osiris, the only begotten son on the left-hand side. Right? So now, what we have to understand is that's a vanity. That is a vanity. And it's causing all India to be just fluttered with disease. The Lord said that's an unclean nation.
Wasn't there an article in India during the time of the pandemic? They were just dumping their idols off they were dumping their idols off the cliff because they're now realizing that they're being punished for it.
Right. Right. But who they were? Remember, they had a damn back in the 90s, everybody was anorexic in India, worshiping a damn cow. Yeah. No, kill and slaughter the cow and eat. But they didn't kill cows because they worshiped the cow. That's a vanity.
It gets worse. Like, you look at these other nations, and you really dig into their traditions and their gods and their beliefs.
Right.
It gets absolutely worse. Like, it's
the deeper you go in their rabbit hole.
Oh, there's like,
right,
what they do with the cow's dung, all of that, where they bathe that, like the rivers in their streets, like they'll bathe in mud water, like it's just like.
And they believe. When I was in Cairo, right, there was flies everywhere. Right, you go on. This is not treacherous, right? We can run it in there, running from the damn flies outside. Then you go inside, there's more flies. I'm looking at every fly like, God damn, I can't even drink a damn smoothie. Yo, this literally was women with their hand wrap on, with flies landing on them, it's crawling like this, like, man, it's a fly on you. They literally believed that it was good luck. It was like, oh, the good luck comes from a fly. It's good and bad. I'm like, what kind of bullshit is this? Black folks is running, squatting, swinging. We fighting flies in the middle of the street. We don't like the feeling of I'll never forget. I'm Salaki. I ain't gonna go too left. I was at an outward bound program. You know, when the city kids used to go into the country, they learn stuff about nature and stuff. But this old white dude named Bear. He used to live in the cabin in the woods all year round. And you know how little Judite sisters are, right? They 13, 14, they mouthy. They're like, there's bugs out here. They like, oh, right? So We sitting down, we eating lunch. They're like, this nasty ass sandwich. You know, big person and everything, because we from the city. This is a program for kids, you know, to learn this new opportunity in the woods. Like, we like, this shit is it's mad. This is bugged out right here. Get us back home. There's mosquitoes everywhere, gnats flying around my eyes. Right? So a fly landed on this white guy named Bear. And he was sweating profusely. And one of the Judite girls was like, Mister, it's a fly on your arm. He said, no, he's just trying to survive. He's drinking my sweat. Yo, the Judite said, Mister, that's nasty. You know how sisters is, man. She's like, that's nasty. Ew, you nasty, mister. You take a bath? Yo, all the Judites sisters like, oh, you probably. He was like, oh, I just wash in the river. I mean, my clothes on. Yo, when you actually think about the heathen, you will understand why we have laws of cleanliness. And you're going to tell me that they are entering into a covenant with a people who are considered special and holy and above all else. And clean. Right? But a lot of our people have adopted their ways because the Lord said that the pestilence shall cleave to us. Right. There are a lot of they got comfortable with living with roaches. Eating pork. You go to a brother's house, man, you see a roach walk out the damn room with Tim's on. Yeah, what you doing, nigga? He got Tim's on, lacing him up, tying him. A roach. I'm about to hit this block. Dap up the. Hey, I'll see you later, Chauncey. Damn roach. Go ahead.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 19 and verse 10. And the Lord said unto Moses, go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes and be ready at the third day. For the third day, the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.
Right. The Lord, He deals with cleanliness. He deals with cleanliness. It's lucky. The Lord said, even in the midst of war, right? If you leave your dung out in the open, His spirit is not going to reside with us. He said, take a shovel, dig a hole in the ground, and put your dung in the hole. I just saw a triple over that wall. Right. The Lord does not want to smell feces. But guess what? What does Esau do? He does everything opposed to God. All that is opposed to God. He said, he said don't do that? Oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to rub ourselves in feces. Like that's the type of, those are the people ruling over us. They used to go to war naked with Jephthite, the thieves, and war naked and have homosexual orgies. They weren't just fighting with their soldier that was right beside them because they were protecting women. No. They were protecting their lover. You see, these are the vanities, right, of the heathen. But you want to engraft them in a covenant that was not for them. Yahushua came for those people. I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But what about George Bush, Lord? No. Right? Isaiah 55 and 11. Right? The Lord promised our father, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, an inheritance. We are the Lord's possession as the Israelites. And believe it or not, we are strangers now. We are just sojourning in an age where we're just waiting for the promise to be revealed and manifested on the earth. Abraham has not seen that promise come yet. But it's only through Yahushua. Because remember, Abraham rejoiced to see the day of Isaac. Right. Abraham had to believe in Yahushua. And when he went to go offer up Isaac, what happened? He said, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen, or it shall be provided. Abraham knew that Yahushua had to die, and he knew he was going to resurrect so that we can be quickened and inherit the promise. That's how deep Abraham was. But you know what?
we're just going to skip over that, and we're going to include all the other nations. No, so if you're an Israelite and you don't believe in Yahweh Shai, you're not going to inherit anything. Because Abraham even had to believe in the son of promise. But
This is Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 23. Truly in vain is salvation hoped from far the hills, and from the multitude of mountains.
Right.
Truly in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel.
Right. Salvation of Israel. Right. In the days of Samuel, it said the Lord wrought salvation in Israel. Show me one scripture where it said the Lord wrought salvation in Edom, wrought salvation in Ammon, wrought salvation in Cush, wrought salvation in any other nation. You can't do it. You have a subjective view of this world, and you're trying to engraft it into the book, and it won't work. You're too damn emotional. That's your problem. You're still a damn slave, and you're repenting in your heart to return back to Egypt. You don't have the fortitude. You don't have the mental fortitude to be considered the filth of this society, like Yahweh Shai took on. To say salvation isn't for you, white man. You can't go to the White House like Moses did and say, "Let my people go."
Right.
You can't do that. You want to go to the White House and say, "Joe Biden, come along with us." Did Moses do that with Pharaoh? No. Does God change? He's the same today, yesterday, and forevermore. So what's that tell you? You go to all these basic scriptures. Give me Isaiah 55 and 11.
This Isaiah chapter 55, verse 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please.
It's going to accomplish whatever the Lord sees. That which I please. Let me tell you something. Give me Revelation 4 and 11. Just realize, and give me 2 Ezra 8 and 11. Just understand, you are the Lord's creation. He can do whatever he wills to anything he creates. If he created Esau to be hated, leave it there.
Right.
Stop trying to fix something that's already broke. His soul is not upright within him, the scriptures say. So if his soul is not upright that's within him, why are you trying to save him?
Exactly.
Why are you on YouTube saying salvation is for you, but the Israelites is going to have it first? You could be there, and you confusing your damn self. Right? That makes no sense. Why are you on Clubhouse trying to save people? The Lord said they ain't going to be saved. You're just not obedient. You just don't know how to listen. You got an ulterior motive. Right? You're trying to include that Edomite wife. Right? You want to find excuses for why you want to do what you want to do. Right? That's what you got intentions for. Right? Read that. Revelation first.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 4, verse 11.
Look it out.
Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created.
See, for the Lord's pleasure they are and were created. The Most High created his Son to create everything else for the only begotten Son pleasure. Right? So if he created the heathen to be vessels of dishonor, it was for his example on the earth of this is not what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to worship idols. You're not supposed to bathe in a river of corpses. Right? From the least to the greatest of the commandments. Right? Esau, right? They watch porn all day, right? You've been in middle school and high school with them, right? They're disgusting. And then they'll shake your hand. Like, where your hand come from? God knows what? That whatever comes from their mouth is like, I don't want to shake your nasty ass hand. Because they don't believe in bathing. They don't believe in being clean. But God said, no. The seed of copulation makes you unclean. You're not going to walk around with your garments stained. Sisters, when you grow and you develop and you mature, your body's going to go through changes. You're unclean when you have your menstrual cycle. Educate the daughters of Zion that they are unclean because they are being what? Cleansed. Your body is pushing out all types of toxicity that is in you to remain the princess that you are. You need to isolate yourself. What does Esau do? He don't got laws against that. Go ahead.
Real quick, did you see the this dude Adam 22 where he allowed his porn star wife to basically have sex with another man, and they had podcasts on it. He was so damn cool with it, like he said, you did a good job, you know.
He's a couple.
His it's just like why? Like, they're just so out of it, and then these were really confused as why would you want to say of people that as such?
Right. Excuse me for being a bit vulgar, but our kids have these devices. Satan is trying to destroy their minds. These nations ain't thinking about God's laws, God's commandments. They're thinking about all the contemporary religions, right? All the contemporary ideologies and vanities, right? Of these times. Christianity ain't good for our children. Islam ain't good for our children. It's time for Israel to do what? Separate themselves. But everyone wants to engraft these nations, and then there's a white man really going to sit through this lesson right now? If I sat there and told a white man, you know your father's just wicked, and you got to go into captivity. Yeah, you know what? You damn right I should. You're going to end up going to captivity. But this is not where you're supposed to be. That's why the Black Panthers and every other movement, right, got infiltrated, right, and is no more. Why? Because they didn't have this to tell them be sanctified. They didn't have this to say, you are special, you are a separate people, and you will forever be separate unto me. They didn't have that. Okay? So their mission failed. Fred Hampton, powerful young brother, ambitious brother, right? Smart, subtle, discerned brother, wise brother. But he didn't have this, right? The biggest fear of our enemy is that we separate. That's his biggest fear. Because he crumbles. Understand, the Spirit of God and the anointing resides on the children of Israel. Just read the scriptures and the testimonies of ancient Egypt. We need one with the Spirit of God in them. Joseph saved Egypt from a famine. And Egypt was prolonged. Why? Because there was an Israelite sitting in the prison. How many Israelites are in prison right now that are smart as a damn whip? That'll tell you about science, health, inventions going on in prison right now. From Israelites. Because the Spirit of God dwells on us, man. The Lord said, touch not mine anointed, neither do my prophets no harm. Name me one Edomite, Moabite, Ammonite prophet. Can't name me one. Why?
because they're not included in this, man. And so we're going to go into some contexts. And I think it's very important. That was just my preface, right? That was just my preface, because you cannot be, well, you could make it Israelite to an Edomite, Moabite, but Israel going to be first. We know Israel going to be first. Israel was always supposed to be first. What was the purpose of Yahweh Shai? Give me Hebrews 9 and 15. What was his purpose? What was his purpose? Right? Give me Matthew 26 and 28.
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 9, and verse 15. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament.
Yahweh Shai is betwixt the Heavenly Father and the church, Israel. He's the mediator, praying for the transgressions of the people. The Lord, the Most High, don't tolerate transgression. We all transgress at times. But you have a mediator whose blood speaks better things than Abel's on your behalf. So you can make it. Right? That's who's mediating. His only begotten son. Go ahead.
And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament.
See, what is testament? It's the same word as covenant.
Right.
Right? So if the Israelites were under the first covenant, they fell and broke the first covenant. Christ died for the sins that were accounted on the first testament between Moses. Go ahead.
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 9 and verse 1. Then verily the first covenant had also ordinances of divine service and a worldly sanctuary.
You see, we had divine services, meaning we were betwixt the Godhead. Okay? We were betwixt the Elohim. Okay? That was our service. Right? But we had an earthly tabernacle. Right? Go ahead.
Back to Hebrews chapter 9 and verse 15. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance.
They which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. That means Israel will be an everlasting world. There's not going to be another beast that come up, another government that come up. Israelites will inherit their kingdom. Their children, children's children, children's children, children's children, right, will forever inherit a promise where we will never be uprooted from our power.
That's right.
From our construct. Okay? Right? Give me Genesis 22 and 14. Because I did call that, but hold that precept and then call that.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 22 and verse 14. And Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh, as it is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen.
In the mount of the Lord, that's Mount Moriah, where Yahweh Shai died on the cross. Everybody follow? Because Abraham was a prophet, according to Genesis 20, verse 7. He foreseen that Isaac, the son of promise, right, he eventually would be offered up for the eternal promise for Israel. That is what the Lord put as your, what can I say, prerequisite to inherit this. He's not going to, we're going to go in the land, yada, yada, yada. No. Someone had to suffer and die for you to redeem, right, the sins of the sons of God, even from the beginning, to grant you an eternal inheritance and be sovereign over all. And he chose to select seed, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. And that seed of promise, Yahweh Shai, he is the reason for us being able to inherit those promises. Right? But Abraham didn't see his seed, right, as thousands, but he believed. So he knew that Yahweh Shai eventually would die on that cross. And Jacob even gives us a foreshadowing that it will come from the tribe of Judah. Why? Because he talked about the scepter being amongst Judah. It is evident that our Lord sprang from Judah. Right? What you got?
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 48 and verse 12. Hearken unto me, O Jacob and Israel, my call.
Read that again.
Hearken unto me, O Jacob and Israel, my call.
My call. That's New Testament, right?
That's Isaiah 48.
I mean, that's Isaiah.
What scripture was that?
Isaiah 48 and 12.
Wow.
Read that again.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 48 and verse 12. Hearken unto me, O Jacob and Israel, my call.
My call. Go ahead.
I am he. I am the first. I also am the last.
There you go. He called Israel out of Egypt. Right? He called Israel. But he called the damn Hamites. No. Isaiah 63 and 18.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 63 and verse 18. The people of thy holiness have possessed it but a little while.
So the people of his holiness, Israel, possessed the kingdom only for a little bit. But we're going to possess it forevermore later. If we continue to believe in our Lord, right, and he died for those sins under the First Testament. Right? Go ahead.
Our adversaries have trodden down thy sanctuary.
See, our enemies. That's what adversary means. Enemies. They've trodden down the sanctuary of the Lord. And eventually, right, we're going to realize our enemies are going to say, how strange their salvation. The enemies of the Israelites are the enemies of the Lord. And they all got Israelites in captivity. You mean to tell me that they're going to let Israel go? Every nation that's under the heaven will be like, we're going to let your people go, Lord. First and foremost, you don't even have the remedy or the direction of where we're going to go. Right. So how are they going to recompense this thing? The Lord said, can you give me a recompense, Tyre and Sidon? Well, this recompense, it's going to fall upon your own heads. How is this fitting the biblical narrative for salvation for everybody? It's not, it doesn't fit. It's like you found a puzzle in a different box. You got a puzzle of a
not even the same box.
Yeah,
Box.
It's a, you know how you see the puzzles? You got a puzzle with a damn glacier on it, like you in Alaska. You got another puzzle of Hawaii with a beach. You taking a damn glacier, completely two different regions of the earth, two different climates, and you trying to think, this glacier, this goes here.
Forcing it.
There you go.
Trying to get the pieces.
Yeah, you forcing it. You got to lie to make these heathens in this salvation into this covenant. You just got to lie.
Trying to say that that's the missing piece.
That's right. You in a damn delusion.
Right.
Okay? You're in a delusion. Right, go ahead.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 63 and 19. We are thine. Thou
we.
Us.
Israel.
World.
The whole world. Oh, you are a hate group. Yeah, I definitely do hate this world. What?
We are thine. Thou never bearest rule over them.
Thou never bearest rule over them. Go ahead.
They were not called by thy name.
They were not called by the holiest of the holiest names. Yahweh. They don't call on Yahweh. And if they see the name, the four letter, the tetragrammaton, they go, Yahweh.
Yeshua.
Yeah. Yahusha. Right? Only Israelites that's from the grassroots organization they call on when say Yahusha. Why do you think that is? So the white man says Yeshua, Yahusha,
Israel.
but the name of the Most High is dreadful amongst the heathen. So guess what? Go ahead and follow those renditions of the phonological
format of that name. Go ahead, follow it. But guess what? It ain't gonna get you far. It's gonna get you in under the guise of, you're gonna be following the guise of salvation is for everyone. Thanks, Yahusha. Go ahead, Al.
This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 3, in verse 32. It says, is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation hath so believed thy covenants as Jacob?
Right.
And yet the reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I've gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth, and think not upon thy commandments.
They don't think about the Lord's laws. Name me one nation under heaven that teaches Torah. And don't say them fake Jews because they teach the Talmud. They follow the Kabbalah and they don't believe in a Mashiach Yahweh. They don't. Right? Give me Matthew 26:28.
This is Matthew chapter 26, verse 28. For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins.
See, Israel had to be forgiven for those sins under the first covenant, but Yahweh Shai had to shed his blood, right, for the remission of the sins under the first covenant, so that Israel could be granted grace and inherit the promises forever. And Abraham knew about that. Abraham knew that the son of promise had to be offered up. That's why he said, it shall be seen in the mount of the Lord. And guess what? When we read the Gospels and we read about Yahweh Shai hanging on that cross and him dying for our people, understand he did that so you can have an identity, so you can have a nationality again, so that you can be in peace with your God. I'm tired of struggling under this white man. I'm tired of struggling under our enemies, man. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I'd die for this. You think I'm just going out here and just, hey, Israel, for just because I'm like, hey, look at me. You don't think I know what comes with this? I counted the cost, right, with tears. You think I'm going to engraft the enemies amongst us? When we see we could literally trace the footsteps and the footprints of how they treated us through every paradigm. The Lord said, never trust thine enemy. You don't obey your holy father. But we're a hate group. Right? No, we're a self-reflecting group. And we are coming back to our God, and therefore we remember the covenant of our God that we made with him. While y'all was having, you can have your Egypt, you can have your Babylon, we was in the damn wilderness, making a covenant, a contract. Y'all was turning up outside of us, playing flutes and harps and doing what y'all do, being unclean. We were learning what our God approves and what he disapproves. And we're coming back to that. Okay? So this is the purpose for this class today. This was just my passion coming out. Right. But now we're going to get into the context of stranger. Did strangers enter into the covenant of the Lord in Deuteronomy 29? No. I say no. I hope people that follow me on Clubhouse question me the next time they see me. But just like they wanted to put me on the hot seat then, and I said these are not non-Israelites, I still stand on my position. Okay? And I'm going to prove that the strangers in Deuteronomy 29, right, has a context. And they were not non-Israelites who entered into that covenant. That's the reason for this class. I think that it wasn't predicated on a conversation I had. But our people need to know you're special, man. Ain't nothing wrong with saying God only came for us. Because God only sent Moses for Israel. God only sent the prophets to Israel to repent.
Right.
Now, if a heathen come crawling, if a heathen come realizing our God is the way, the truth, and the life, hey, you can have faith in that. But when it comes to the term covenant, which means a contract that came via blood, that's not you. That's what Israel got to understand. When we govern the world, you're going to have heathen believe in your God. But your God did not shed, your power did not give his son to shed blood for the heathen.
Promise.
But by the promise. Go ahead, read that.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 26 and 28.
Oh.
For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many.
Not everyone.
Many.
Not everyone.
Many.
Many. Many. Hey, Jesus loves everybody. Give me the scripture I brought out at the Waffle House. It's in John 13 and 1.
Make some fruits.
Yeah, but bad Waffle House.
Yeah, that day was different. He was mad. Go ahead.
John 13 and 1. Everyone, hold on. Jesus loves everybody. Read that again. This is a guillotine. This is real bad. Go ahead.
It's the book of John, chapter 13 and verse 1. Now before the feast of Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father,
Right?
having loved his own.
Having loved who?
Having loved his own.
One more time.
Having loved his own.
Having loved his own.
Which were in the world, he loved them unto the end.
See, he loved Israel. He loved that decor. He did not love Hamites. He did not love Edomites. That's a problem with these Christian Israelites. He loved everyone. The Bible disagrees. Read that one more time. For those that's going to scoff at this. Read that one more time.
It's the book of John chapter 13 and verse 1. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own, which were in the world, he loved them unto the end.
He loved his own unto the end. Who did Yahushua love, Jalil?
Israel.
Right? Is your name Jalil? Who did Yahushua love, Jalil? How do you know? What did the scripture just say? Speak up. He loved who? Read that again.
It's the book of John, chapter 13 and verse 1. Now before the feast of the Passover, when Yahushua knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own, which were in the world, he loved them unto the end.
Who did he love? He loved his own. Right? When there's something is your own, it belongs to you.
Right.
When Yahushua saw Edomite, he said, we saw an Israelite, his eyes lifted, his eyes got bigger. It moved him to tears when he saw his people. And he said, what? The laborers are few. When you go see your own people, you say the laborers are few. Ain't nobody working hard for these people to get to where they need to be. Yahushua believed in it and saving his own. That's the gospel. That's just one understanding you have to know the true, sound, pure gospel. that you got to love your own. Your own comes first. You understand? The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans on the Western Hemisphere, them your own people. You love them. Stop worrying about everybody damn else. Go ahead.
It's the book of Mark, chapter 7, and verse 26. The woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by nation. She besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. But Yahushua said unto her, let the children first be filled.
Let the children first be filled. Worry about your people first. Who's the children? Israel. Go ahead.
For it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it unto the dogs.
Listen, it's not good,
Right.
to give what belongs to the children and let the dogs eat them. The children gonna go hungry. Who are the children? The children of the kingdom, the children of the promise, the children of God. Go ahead.
Especially in John, can I get John 17:9?
Go ahead. All the classics. He brought the classic out.
That's red text.
That's red text. Go
The
ahead.
book of John, chapter
That's Edom text. Go ahead.
It's the book of John, chapter 17, and
Red
verse 9.
hell. Read that out.
It's the book of John, chapter 17, and verse 9.
Uh-huh.
I pray for them.
Mhm.
I pray not for the world.
I pray for Esau. I pray for Ammon. I pray for Moab. I pray for, what did he say?
I pray for them. I pray not for the world.
Yahushua is not praying for the nations. Okay? He's praying for his own, right? Let me give you an example of people of the world. Give me Psalm 17 and verse 13 and 14.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 17, and verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked.
Deliver my soul from the wicked, especially Esau. Deliver my soul from Esau. I would not have all this damn mortgage and rent and court papers and subpoenas and yada yada yada. I wouldn't have to pay for damn water. I wouldn't. What did Earthquake say back in the 90s in the Comic View? He said, pretty soon we're gonna be paying for air. I believe him. He said, oh, an earthquake done cut my air off. I can see Esau doing something like that. You gotta pay for air.
Dr. Seuss got movies like that.
I mean, we pay for air right now. There's certain like air chronicles that buy like 2 Chase hosted the show, and he goes around buys an expensive thing, and they have air bottled up, and you have to pay for
Yeah.
quality air.
Yeah.
It's great.
Just imagine if Esau can catch the Holy Spirit and put it on a lap somewhere.
Oh, shut up.
Hey, all right.
Shut up.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 17,
Like that.
and verse 13.
What's going on
Yeah,
today?
you do something like that. If you could.
Yeah, all right.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 17, and verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him,
Right?
cast him down.
Right.
Deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, from men which are thy hands.
See, the wicked is just doing what the Lord appointed him to do. What does Cain mean?
Sword.
Weapon. Right? So everybody that's under the spirit of Cain, the so-called white man, the nations, they have done what? They have lifted up a sword. Every nation has a sword that's called, majority of the nations, called the nuclear missile. That shows you under the spirit of Cain. You killing it. You trying to kill people off the planet.
Right.
I believe Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans, and those in the interiors of the other nations, we ain't got no nuclear weapons. We ain't talking about ejecting chemicals in the air for people to breathe and die.
Didn't America also, not to cut your wisdom, America just sent cluster bombs to Ukraine,
Right.
which is not only bombing or going to supposedly bomb Russia, you're also bombing civilians at the same time.
Right.
Cluster bombs.
Right. You don't care. You are a living, breathing weapon of destruction. Your mind needs to be subdued. Okay? Go ahead.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 27, and verse 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live. and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
There you go. See, he needed to be brought back to the bottomless pit and get that chain thrown back on him, that yoke put back on him. That's what the so-called white man.
Right. What David did.
Right. And the so-called white man, he knows who we are. He had to study you. Ask me if I give a damn. He lives for his fathers. I'm going to live for mine.
That's right.
I'm going to die for mine.
Right.
You list us as grand.
Guess what? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob.
Right.
Right? The Maccabees. How about my Levite brothers?
That's right.
Right? How about my Ephraimite brother Joshua? How about my brother from the tribe of Manasseh, right? Gideon. When they read those names, they shake like they heard the name Mufasa. What about them fathers? We got fathers too.
That's right.
I don't fear the so-called white man or the nations. I don't fear saying we need to be separate. But what they did do, they knew that this was the book of power.
Right.
The book of Eli. And it belongs to you. And it will be revealed to you. And it will be revealed in that day that he was the man of sin. Right? Ask, if my Lord, if I'm not greater than my Lord, if a servant is not greater than his master, what makes you think that we won't shed our blood? What makes you think that we just, the Spirit of the Lord is behind us? What did David say to Goliath? He said, I come in the name of the God of Israel. And the slingshot, the stone of a slingshot went the speed of a damn bullet. That's the man that the Lord said, you know what? That's my king right there. He sunk a stone in Goliath's head. I need that man to defend my people. Just imagine how he shine. That's a scary sight. I want to be on the right hand. So we're going to die anyway. We're going to live for this. And you're going to live out your life with gold chains on, dead across the street with your pants sagging, outside of a Waffle House? Or you're going to die in honor like Peter. Right? We already can't live on this earth because everybody's going to have cancer by the year, 2040 or something like that. That's what the white man and these heathen have got in this earth. The condition of the earth is death, the scriptures say, right? Those are the people that's engrafted into the covenant, right? It's madness. It's sheer madness. So we're going to get down to the bottom of this. Okay? Was the Lord engrafting the heathen into the covenant? We're going to say again, no. Right? So, Abiyah, give me my first link that I sent you. You got them? All right, come. So, when you deal with the word stranger in the Old Testament, okay? Remember, the Old Testament was written in what? What language? Hebrew. The New Testament was translated from the Greek. So you had the Masoretic text, Masoretic traditions that was written in Hebrew. And then in the New Testament, you had the Greek text, which was called the Textus Receptus, which means the received text. The text that was accepted by the church. And the reason why we go with the Textus Receptus is because it was the Byzantine tradition. When you go to the letters of Paul, when you go into Peter, majority of their audience was in the Asia Minor regions, which was the Empire of Byzantium. Right? So you have also Alexandrian traditions and things. But a lot of the Alexandrian traditions in the church that was in Alexandria, like you have men like Philo, they were considered like Stoics. They were philosophers of the Old Testament. So a lot of their beliefs wasn't shaped by the apostles.
You used to have Apollos come out of Egypt. The reason why Apollos came out of Egypt because it was a great multitude of Jews that were in Egypt, but they had different traditions. Y'all understand? Right? So we follow the Texas Receptus, tradition. Okay? And so when we go into the Strong's concordances, right? When we go into the definition of words, right? We're going to learn the context of these words applied in the Hebrew tongue. Yeah, go ahead.
This is important to read. This is the prologue of Sirach. This is before the chapter. It says, for the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself.
The law itself.
And the prophets.
And the prophets.
And the rest of the books have no small differences.
So the Tanakh is what it's saying. That the law, the prophets, right, and the writings. Go ahead.
This is to finish it. When they are spoken in their own language.
So the Hebrew is a concrete language. Right? So when you translate something from one language to another, languages have different rules. The English is a horrible language.
Right.
It's horrible. Right? They say when two vowels go to walking, the second one does the talking. I was young and I said, so you mean to tell me? Well, no. When two vowels go to walking, the first one does the talking. It said. So if you have the word boat, B-O-A-T, right? You hear the O sound. There was no purpose for the A, right? It's B-O-T, boat, right? But not in the word youth. Sounds like teacher, but what about this word? Well, in this case, the second one does the talking. But the first one don't do. I don't understand these damn rules. Yeah, it's a damn, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a bastard language.
Right.
It's a bastard language. I remember when I was a paraprofessional, right? Remember the viral video that I had?
Yeah, with
the white boy.
Oh no!
I had a video that went viral. I had all the black kids did the dab, and then the white boy at the end he did the dab. That was my voice. A lot of people don't know that in Israel, but I went viral, super viral. But when I was in that setting, when I was a paraprofessional in kindergarten, right? I was like the muscular. They looked at me like the black Arnold Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop. Mm-hmm. They said, "Well, Mr. John," they used to run to me. I used to be picking them up, right? But I had a good time in it. But when we sat down for curriculum, a lot of the black kids, this is kindergarten, so you're learning sounds of words, etc. We had this little magnet board where we had the letters, and Israel would get up, and the white boy would be like, to get the word right, he'd be like, cat, C-A-T, cat, good job. Jay could get up, like spell car. He'd be like, you put the word together. Sorry, Jacob. It doesn't start with a K. But he in his head like, but K make the K sound. Right. A, B, C. It should be what you trying to have him spell SAR or something. One of the kids was like, that don't make sense, teacher. K makes the K sound.
Right.
See, we are common sense people. Right. Hebrew is the same. It's concrete. There's not multiple definitions. So when you see the word stranger, right, in context, it's not always talking about a heathen. You could be estranged in ideology.
Right.
You could be in another country and be considered a sojourner. Someone could be in your house and be considered a stranger of your same nation. Right? But because of the English language and because it's so bastardized, you have 4 Hebrew words that was translated into stranger. But you also have to include syntax, which means the format of the sentence. Then you have to understand subtext, which is the text that is before it, right, or under it, or I should say, after it. Pretext before it. Context with the whole phrase. Then you have to apply supertext, which is the whole Bible.
Right.
So do strangers go against the rules of them entering into the covenant? Non-Israelites? Yes. The Lord didn't promise Abraham that Ishmael was going to, he can go in there when Moses comes. He said, I'm not making my covenant with him. He's going to be blessed though. He's going to have 12 princes. And he has 12 tribes of his own. Right? Midian was blessed. Abraham got all his sons together and he gave his sons gifts. But he said he gave all that he had to Isaac. Why? Because Abraham knew that Isaac was the son of the promise.
Right.
He was the son that the Lord was going to establish his covenant with. Let's get that real quick. Genesis 17:18. Like, this is kindergarten. But yeah, what are we doing? What are we? This is what got us here in the first place, Israel.
This is Genesis chapter 17, verse 18. And Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed.
See, Sarah is going to give you a son, Abraham. Okay, go ahead.
And thou shalt call his name Isaac.
You're going to call his name Isaac, which means he shall laugh, or he laughs. Right? Because Abraham and Isaac, they laugh within themselves like, I'm a son in my old age. It's almost like the Most High saying, watch and see. Somebody ever told you something that's going to happen? There's $1 million in your bank account. Now, my guess. That's what Abraham was thinking about. I'm old as hell. Sarah, she old. She ain't gonna have no kid. Can she hold a kid up his head? Right? So he laughed within himself. It was like the Lord said, watch, Abraham. And the Lord, to this day, when Abraham is going to be resurrected, right, and he's going to inherit what the Lord promised him, he's going to be like, you was right, Lord, thousands of years ago. The Lord is going to have the last life. That's what that means. Right? Hold that really quick, but stay there. Psalms 2, verse 7.
The book of Psalms, chapter 2 and verse 7. I will declare the decree. The Lord has said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance.
Wait, start at verse 4.
The book of Psalms, chapter 2 and verse 4. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh.
See, he that sitteth in the heavens. Remember Yahushua in the beginning said, I'm going to go to my Father. I'm going to come to you. He's the one sitting in the heavens. He is going to laugh.
Right.
Why? Because he was Isaac. Because he was the son of promise. Abraham laughed like, no, this can't be. Right? But the Lord said, is anything impossible with God? No. UFOs and spaceships and we're going to leave and bombs, we're going to come and leave. Is anything possible with God? My son crazy. Right? He's smoking that ganja. Right? No, you're going to have the last laugh in Israel. Why? Because the son of promise, he came to save you.
While everybody was just looking at you like you were in a cult, like you were just a nigga talking some bull crap, right? A nigga that left society, like Abraham left society. They left the society of idolatry and believed in an invisible God. You don't think that Abraham was out there talking to entities that no one else could see but him? He had sacrifices lined up in the wilderness. Lord God. They thought Abraham was nuts. Can you see what I'm seeing right now? Do you realize what Abraham has established for us to believe? Something was created out of nothing. Abraham is responsible for making that public. Right? Moses wouldn't be a Moses without Abraham. Right? And Abraham had to believe that the son of promise will be established in that day, and his seed will be established in that day by that promise and that contract God made with him for believing. So everybody else is just involved in that. No, Abraham did that for us. I mean, what are y'all reading? Right. You're reading a damn comic book. That's what you're reading. Written by T.D. Jakes. Okay? That's what you're reading. The Bible is cohesive. First covenant, second covenant. Old covenant, new covenant. First Testament, Second Testament. It's cohesive. Jeremiah 31. Right? I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and Judah. What else are you reading? Right? But you got this nuance. You got this some type of mystery that you oh my goodness, it's talking about even. If this was such a mystery, right, that the heathen could be engrafted in, why was it a mystery that they could go on the outer court and under the First Testament? So it's not a mystery that the Gentiles were non-Israelites that could be saved. It was always known that a non-Israelite, if they wanted to partake in the covenant, you got to get your foreskin circumcised. And if you have a certain sect of the heathen, you can offer sacrifices. Ruth, believe it or not, she was a Moabite. But she couldn't go into the outer court and offer sacrifice. But she could be a part of the nation of Israel. She could worship the God of Israel. But was she in the covenant? No. Go ahead.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 2. But the court which is without the temple, leave out and measure it not.
Don't measure that court. That's for the Gentiles to enter in. That's the paradigm we're in right now. You know why? Because the Gentiles are trodden in the sanctuary of God. Go ahead.
For it is given unto the Gentiles. In the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months.
That's a number. I don't want to go too far into that because we're on this topic. But that number goes into the 3.5 year period. It's just proverbial. Remember when Elijah shut up the heaven from rain? Right? That goes into that same period. That's why in Revelation 11, see, a lot of people don't understand. Elijah invented a school for the prophets that we read. Jonah, Micah, many Elisha were students of Elijah's school. No different than you got one West today, right? There's a certain school of thought. Well, Elijah was one of the first prophets to prophesy against kingdoms and northern kingdom. You had Samuel who was judging, etc. But then you had Elijah come on the scene, and he was doing miracles, drawing fire from heaven, etc., preaching against the kings, which led a snowball effect or a trickle-down effect for all the other prophets to come together that we see. And then another witness was Moses, who caused the blood to go into the seas of Egypt and all types of plagues. Those are the Israelites, right? That's why
You got the caricature of Elijah and Moses in Revelation 11. Okay? But that's why it was called a 42-month period, because it was considered a famine. Because the heathen were trodden down the sanctuary. So our people are in that famine. But that's why the Bible calls it a latter rain. And we are the dew of the youth of our people coming back. And that's why in Psalms 85:11 it says, truth shall spring forth from the earth due to the latter rain. Because this is the latter rain coming for the nation of Israel to flourish. We are the substance of the what we could call the chlorophyll within the stump that was cut down in Isaiah 6:13, so that the leaves could yield forth its increase and be for the healing of the nations. We are that substance in this time. Not no damn heathen. Right? Not none of that vanity that they got going on out there to come amongst us and infiltrate us. Right? Now let's go into the first word. Blow that up, Apaya. In the Strong's, that link. Everybody following? One of the first words for stranger is thawashab, right? In the Hebrew. Everybody say thawashab. Right? Let's go down into the definition in the blue letter. So you have sojourner. Oh, it says a dweller, but not outlandish, meaning you're not estranged to the custom. Right? Now, if there was an outlandish idolater amongst Israel, they would be considered another stranger. He's estranged in his thoughts, in his mind. Now, you could be an Israelite estranged, right? You could be, you ever see an Israelite brother that guy's tatted up from head to toe? It's like, he's a murderer. He's an idolater, right? He would be estranged from the custom of his fathers, from the custom of the holy fathers, right? Or the holy people, right? But it goes into a dweller, but not outlandish, especially as distinguished from a native citizen, active participle, H 427, a temporary inmate, or mere lodger, resident alien. Somebody who's just lodging with you, just dwelling with you. But the context is an inhabitant or somebody just dwelling. So let's go to 1 Kings 17:1. Right? See where we can see that. Right? So we can get context. Go ahead.
It's the book of 1 Kings, chapter 17, and verse 1. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead.
See? Of the inhabitants. So in this word, inhabitants, you're going to see thawashab. Everyone say thawashab. You're going to see that word thawashab there. Because in this context is what? Inhabitants or people who dwell there. Now, Elijah was a Tishbite, right? Now, if I was somebody, I'm from the tribe of Judah. If I was to travel to Gilead, where the tribe of Manasseh was, right? They would be the strangers or the dwellers or the inhabitants of Gilead. I'm coming from Judah. So I'm going to go to those who dwell somewhere else. But guess what? That's a completely different tribe. Now, not all rice and beans are rice and beans. Judas is white rice and baked beans. That's what I grew up on, with a little bit of sugar on it, brown sugar. Now, if I was to go to Jamaica, white rice and peas, I'm estranged to that. But when they're dwelling in the tribe of Benjamin. Now, if I want some arroz y grandules, right? And I'm gonna see some yellow rice and beans, but it's gonna be kidney beans, right? Or something like that when I want to go visit the tribe of Ephraim, so-called Puerto Rico. But we're all different in our own way. So even amongst the tribes of Israel, you had different strange little customs, right? So those who dwell, right, outside of Tishbe, where Elijah was from, they would be inhabitants of that region, and you would be considered a stranger. If I go, I'm from New England, from Connecticut. I grew up in, we had different slang in Connecticut, different slang in Hartford. If I went to Chicago, LA, I would be a stranger. I wouldn't know. I don't, you know, even when you go into some different locations, they don't have the same grocery stores. You're like, where's the Stop and Shop around here? Like, Stop and Shop.
Food zone.
Yeah, they have different names.
Market basket.
Right. You're a stranger in a new state, but you're trying to figure out, okay, I gotta be accustomed to this now. The same thing was going on in the nation of Israel. It was a massive land, different tribes, different verbiage in some cases. Look at when Ephraim came out and they wanted to go to war, and they had a different pronunciation of Shibboleth. They said Shibboleth different, Shibboleth, right? And so if you go down south, you're gonna see it different. Hey, what are they awarded? If you do that in Hartford, you're like, take your country ass back to where you came from. What are you talking about? So where did they awarded? What is that? Right? In Hartford, we talk slow. A lot of people don't understand when I'm on stage and stuff, like, you take a long. Hartford, we talk slow. Hey, man, chill, bro. Like, that's how we talk. We say, bruh. We don't say bro. We say, bruh. Right? We got our own little slangs. It was good, great. That's how we talk. New York is be, chill, be this and be that. Right? If you come from New York to Hartford because it's so close, chill, be, oh, you from New York. Right? So we can tell by the language. But you're a stranger amongst us, though we're brothers. Right? So we got to understand different contexts. Right? And I'm going to go into some of those contexts. Let's go to Job chapter 19, right? Verse 14. Now, no. Let's go to Psalms 39. Psalms 39 and 13 first, I believe. I'm going to get this thou shalt out the way.
This is Psalms chapter 39, verse 12.
Yeah, start at 12.
Psalms chapter 39, verse 12. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear unto my cry. Hold not thy peace at my tears, for I am a stranger with thee, and a sojourner as all my fathers were.
See? I'm a stranger with thee. Why is he saying I'm a stranger with thee? Because when you're serving the Lord, this ain't home. This is not home. You are a sojourner traveling through to inherit something that no one else can see.
Right.
That's what he means by this. I'm a sojourner with you. I'm a stranger with you. I'm just a pilgrim. I was talking to Elder Gawar earlier, and we was having a conversation, or yesterday, I believe. And no matter what you can tell no one understands the burden and the vision the Lord puts into a young man sometimes, black man at that. And when we start feeling like this ain't home, and we start searching for the Lord, you could be talking to your woman of your youth. You could be with that woman for 15 years. Hey, listen, man, we Israelites. This ain't home. Promises. And she don't hear God a damn thing. I'm a stranger at my own home. You don't feel this? You don't see this? She does not feel, she does not connect. Your mother, your father, they don't connect with you, bro. You got to take this L for the team. You got to hold that. Right?
You can hold it.
Yeah. Hold that one. Go ahead.
On the definition that you brought, Tabashab, where it says a temporary inmate.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into that because I don't know if you want to go there now or later. But,
Yeah.
it's
Bring it up.
8:16:16.
Right.
Under temporary inmate.
Yeah, I'm getting it. Yeah, I'm getting it.
I'm
That's
not
the
gonna-
next link.
So you want me to do it now? Or you want me to do it-
Oh, no, you could bring it up.
All right.
But
So
I'm going to expound more. Go ahead.
So when you go into 2 Chronicles chapter 15 and verse 9, I'm gonna read that. Because this is the root word of 8:16:16. It says that he gathered all Judah and Benjamin and the strangers with them out of Ephraim and Manasseh and out of Simeon.
Right.
For they fell to him out of Israel in abundance when they saw that the Lord his God was with him. So that temporary inmate, that sojourner, would have been these tribes of the northern kingdom, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Simeon,
Right.
in that case.
Right. And if you understand what was taking place, do you remember?
Was it Manasseh?
Right.
Right.
Why were they considered sojourners or inmates? Because what did the northern kingdom commit? An apostasy. But these were faithful Israelites to the north that still kept the laws of Moses under Judah. They still understood. Remember, there was 10 tribes that said, we have no inheritance in you, David. But there was some like, nah. And those regions like, nah, we're going to follow David. Right? So they were still kept amongst the tribes that were accounted for in the Passover under David, under the kingdom of Judah. So that's why they were considered sojourners or dwellers, right? They were strangers, Israelites, because they did not become estranged from the northern kingdom, but they sojourned still as citizens under who? The southern kingdom. They were still fellow heirs, according to the promise, like we read in Ephesians 3 and 1. Right? And those that were estranged in Ephesians 3 and 1, they were fellow heirs once again, even though they were estranged by idolatry through Yahweh Shai, they were forgiven for those sins under the First Testament and became fellow heirs under the house of David, because it was promised to the house of David that came through Judah, which was Yahweh Shai. Fellow citizens, fellow heirs. Meaning, we as the southern kingdom, where the oracles were committed to when the northern kingdom went off, guess what? Some southern kingdom went off, but guess what? Those that still were committed to the way, you are forgiven for that, and you can become fellow heirs if you convert and keep these laws as we were keeping these laws. But if we kept the laws all day and they believe in Yahweh Shai, we will be estranged from God. Because remember, Abraham had to believe in the Son of Promise too. We all have to believe in that Son of Promise. Through him we inherit these promises. So we would be estranged because we didn't receive the blessing because we didn't believe in the promise. And you would be estranged because you weren't keeping the laws, but because you believe in Yahweh Shai, you're fellow heirs with us. Though you broke the laws, you're fellow heirs with us, brother. Come back to the fold. That's what this is talking about, right? So let's go to read Psalm 39 and 12 again.
Psalm chapter 39, verse 12. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear unto my cry. Hold not thy peace at my tears, for I am a stranger with thee, and a sojourner as all my fathers were.
See, we were a sojourner, right? That word sojourner goes to H8453, which is Thou Shah, which is a dweller, right? Especially distinguished from a native citizen, meaning you're just lodging here, right? You're just someone who's just here for the moment, right? That can be the case. But also, it can also mean inhabitants, people who dwell in this distant land, like we read in 1 Kings 17 and 1.
Right.
Okay? So thou shalt means dweller. You can go into inhabitant. One who is, when you say I'm a prisoner of the Lord, right? Estranged from this life, meaning you dwell with the Lord, meaning you can use that context, the word thou shalt in that context, right? Now, I'm not serving these strange gods, right? But our brothers can be considered strangers because the Lord, like, I don't know you. Go give me Psalms 81, 10 through 12, right? Psalms 81.
The book of Psalms, chapter 81.
In Genesis 35, I believe, 35, and when Jacob, after Jacob, Reuben and not Reuben, Levi and Simeon had destroyed Shechem. 35, I believe, and 1. Yeah, go ahead.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 81, and verse 9. There shall be no strange God be in thee.
See, there shall not be any strange God in you. Any strange power, any strange thought. Right? My son Jai, right? He'll go to school, and it could be an advertisement, and they on their phone, they're playing a game or something, or their mom phone or something, right? And the advertisement of Christmas came up. They'd be like, "Ooh, Daddy, I'm coming, Daddy. You watching the Christmas? Jingle bells is on, Dad." Right? I'd be like, "Give me the thing." Right? There's no strange ideology, no strange thought. There's no vanity coming in this house through this damn primary. Right? Go ahead.
It says, there shall be no strange God in thee, neither shalt thou worship any strange God.
Then you shall not worship any strange God. Go ahead.
Verse 10. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Open thy mouth wide, and I will fill it.
There you go. Meaning, the Lord wants to satisfy you. The Lord wants to feed you. Right? Isaiah 43 and 12.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, and verse 12. I have declared and have saved, and I have showed when there was no strange God among you.
See? I have showed when there was no strange God among you. But what does the scripture say about our people? And when it was in Egypt, they said they didn't understand those wonders in Egypt. That wasn't a strange God. That was the God of creation, the God of the universe, the God of the heavens that created everything. It wasn't no strange God that the Egyptians were worshiping. But our people, they turned back and began to rely on Egypt, began to rely on Assyria, and became estranged from the testimony that God saved them from the Egyptians. They started, right when they came out of Egypt, what happened? They built the golden calf and said, what? This is Yahweh. They built an image to the name of God. And they immediately became estranged. And built an image, right? And called on that image and named it Yahweh. They heard the name Yahweh. We're going to build an image to who saved us. No. Immediately becoming estranged. There was no strange God that saved you. The true and living God, the most high power, saved you. Right? The God that created the wind. That God that shakes the earth. The God that sends pestilence. He saved you. Right? Go ahead.
When there was no strange God among you, therefore ye are my witnesses,
See?
saith the Lord, that I am God.
See? The Israelites are the only witnesses on this planet that can bring out this account as witnesses to say, yeah, he is the true and living God. The same people who are saying God is going to save us from this place, we are the witnesses of the people who even fell into this captivity by breaking his laws. This book has become a witness against us.
Heaven and earth is testifying against us, saying, black man, Hispanic man, and American man. Listen, I told you this would happen. We are living witnesses that he is a true and living God, because he said this will happen to us. That wasn't a strange God. That wasn't a golden calf. That wasn't the Statue of Liberty. That wasn't any other image, right, that our people are celebrating to this day that gave us freedom or any of that. True and living God is going to give us this freedom. He's going to liberate us. Right? He is going to deliver us. But our people can become estranged from that. Right? Let's go to the next link. I'm gonna go a little bit more on that. Speaking of being estranged through idolatry, here's another context. Zor, or Zoar, right? That was translated from the Hebrew, right, into stranger. This is someone who is an outlandish stranger, not native by custom. Okay? Is it our custom to do witchcraft? So, this particular context, you can be a stranger through your vain customs, your heathenistic customs. Yes. Right? I don't want the biblical usage, I want the definition. Go down. There you go. You have Zor, a primitive root, to turn aside, especially for lodging. Hence, to be a foreigner, strange, deep, profane. See that? Specifically, active participle to commit adultery. Right? And we know adultery is also synonymous, spiritual adultery, fornication, idolatry. Come from another man, place, manner, go away, strange. So when it says come from another man or place, right? I mean, someone who comes from a distant place, is not accustomed to you, he's bringing in new thoughts, new ideologies, right? Big Bang Theory. Monkeys. They're our fathers. No, you are out of your damn mind. I knew that when I was 6 and I heard that. I said, huh? I never forget when I also worked for a juvenile detention center, right? It was an all-girls facility. I used to be telling them they're Israelites, all that. And they always had a Bible in the juvenile detention. And they had this one Edomite girl, right? She was there probably like 3 times. And one time she left, you know what I'm saying? She violated probation. Now, all the Israelites, you know, I told you, young black Judites, man, they something else, man. They always be in the little common area, talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it was entertaining because, you know, it was funny. We had good times. And when this Edomite came back, little Edomite girl, right? This nerdy little Edomite girl, but she was wild. And this, I guess her father and them was Christians and stuff. They was trying to get her to follow the ways of the Bible, etc. So this one time she was trying to get out of her, she was jammed up. So she had that Bible on her for, like, took it from the library. I'm signing this out. It's in my room. She was carrying the Bible everywhere. And one day the girls was going up to the housing unit. She was lined up behind a black sister named Destiny, so-called black sister, Judite, mouth. Right? She running her mouth to another little Ephraimite. Like, girl, they going back and forth, back and forth, blah. And Kara, I guess she was trying to be this little evangelist in there. And you know me, I'm an Israelite in my mind. I'm like, man, Jake Laws. So Kara had the Bible in her hand. She said, she tapped Destiny on her shoulder. She said, Destiny, do you believe in God? Yo, the response from Destiny, the
The response from Destiny, she looked back and said, girl, I'm black. Meaning, of course I believe in God. The hell wrong with you? She looked back and said, girl, I'm black.
Right. Right.
I hit the floor. Yo. Right. And when you meet a black atheist, they're an Oreo.
It's a fact.
They trying so hard. They was in some Greek fraternal society, sorority group. Right? Yeah. You a tear. Right? But when you turn aside from what is native and original to you, you can be a Zor. A Zawar. Right? So let's get some context. Destiny had me done. To this day, I think about it, I'm like, yo, that is so true. She said, girl, I'm black. Wow. Right, let's go to Job 19. Let's go to, start at verse 14.
So book of Job chapter 19 and verse 14 says, my kinsfolk have failed. My familiar friends have forgotten me. They that dwell in mine house, and my maids.
They that dwell in my house, they're that was shop. These are the people that dwell with you. This would be context to those that dwell in your house, right? That definition would be thou shop. But
they that dwell in my house, and my maids count me for a stranger.
Count me for a stranger. Why? Because I'm one of a strange belief. I'm considered a stranger. Now, I was talking to this young brother, right? He's just coming into the truth and fresh in the truth. And his parents is going crazy. You're in a cult. You're a stranger. You've become a stranger. You've become someone who is detestable. How dare you give up Christmas? Are you coming to the Christmas party we have every annual season? The Jenkins 35th Christmas, you gonna give this up? You know Grandma Jenkins cooks up fine as ham. Right? You are a madman now in the family. Your kinsfolk, the maids like, oh my gosh. How dare he join this cult, the Israelites? Right? You are considered someone who's an idolater, a Zor. Right? But you're not. You're actually serving the Lord. They are Zors. Right. The Lord said an idolater or a stranger, a Zor, cannot enter near the tabernacle of testimony. And when they went to the wilderness, or they would be stoned. Anybody that had a strange God or a strange ideology or a vanity, if you was going in there dragging a damn giraffe into the tabernacle to offer to the Lord, you was going to get stoned, bro. The Lord didn't say to do that. Right? If you had a God that you wanted to erect in the outer court, or you wanted to change some of the blueprint, and you wanted to take the Ark of the Covenant, that's why certain Levites were sanctioned to carry the Ark of the Covenant. Because you wasn't going to go, they had to be specifically dressed. If you thought you just going to go before the Lord in some strange way, you was going to get stoned and you was going to drop dead. Right? You are a Zawar because you're coming with a strange custom, a strange ideology. Finish that. What bad?
It's the book of Job, chapter 19 and verse 15. They that dwell in my house and my maids count me for a stranger. I am an alien in their sight.
I'm an alien in their sight. Who is this guy? We don't know this guy. It's not the same Clarence that we know. The Clarence I knew came to the Christmas parties. Ate all the Christmas cookies. Wore the ugly Christmas sweater. Right? You're estranged through something they're not conformed to. Right? Before y'all call that precept, I did have a precept that I had. I don't want to forget it, but I might remember. Go ahead.
It's Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 5.
I was literally going to call that in the spirit. Go ahead.
that I may take the house of Israel in their own heart, because they are all estranged from me through their idols.
They are all estranged from me through their idols. See how you can become a stranger as an Israelite? Right? Who are these strangers? Are these Gentiles in the epistles of Paul? Israelites who are estranged through their vanities, through idolatry, which is vanity, through their, you're Jupiter, you're Mars, when they worshipped Paul and Barnabas. Right, go ahead.
This is Psalms chapter 69, verse 8. I become a stranger unto my brethren and an alien unto my mother's children.
There you go. So you could be considered somebody who they don't want around, who they want excommunicated. Now that was happening in Israel. David was, why? Because he was somebody that Paul campaigned against, and he wanted him dead. Because he was jealous of David. David was considered somebody, listen, this guy, what he's talking about, this whole, he ain't gonna be king. Not around my time. But guess what? The Lord appointed him to be king. Saul, you are vain, man. Samuel told you the Lord rejected you. Right? But you're still pursuing the king of the Lord. Saul, you're kicking against the pricks. Okay? Why persecutest thou me, Saul? That's why I believe that Paul was Saul. Same scenario. Where did Yahushua come from? He was persecuting David.
Right.
So was Saul or Paul. Right? That's just my little hidden little belief. Right? So let's go back to Ezekiel 14 and 5, right?
This is Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 5. That I may take the house of Israel in their own heart, because they are all estranged from me through their idols.
So guess what this word is in when the context, when the word in the syntax, when you look at it, when they translated it to estranged, zawar. Now, Israel can be estranged through idolatry. They can be called strangers.
Right.
No, they're strangers. They are not accustomed to the original rudiments we were taught by Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Genesis 35. Right? Now, Israel can be estranged when we start doing things that are not tradition to Moses, to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to the priesthood. Right? Give me Genesis 35.
This is Genesis chapter 35, verse 1. And God said unto Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God that appeareth unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods.
Say that again.
Put away the strange gods that are among you,
Right?
and be clean, and change your garments.
And be what?
And change your garments.
Be clean and change your garments. Remember when we were sojourners and pilgrims in the earth? They were chilling with the Hamites. So guess what they was doing? Guess what Jacob was doing? Getting filthy like them. Right? Taking home little chains. When Israelites wearing that damn Caesar Borgia chain, 50 Cent up there. Go show it. It's your birthday. The Lord like to off that damn strange God, Negro. And be who you are. Right? Some gold shorty. It's your birthday. With a white God on your neck. Go ahead.
This is Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 11. Hath the nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods? But my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit.
There you go. You change your glory for that which hath not profit. You could do all of the celebrating the holidays you want. It's not going to profit you as a people. You're estranged through your idols.
You are a stranger, a zawar in this context. Okay? And your people, see, the American society is going to detest you because you're not following suit. So, from the eyes or the lens of the biblical people, of the holy people, we consider our people that are lost in these ways, following American ways, strangers. Estranged.
It's the book of Ephesians, chapter 4.
And get 1 Corinthians 12.
This is Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 17. This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as other Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind, having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them because of the blindness of their heart.
Gunshots. That's a gunshot. Right? Headshot. Right? Israelites can be called Gentiles.
Right.
Estranged via idolatry and ignorance, being darkened and not illuminated by the laws of God. Right? 1 Corinthians 12 and 2.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles.
Ye were what?
That ye were Gentiles.
Heathen.
Carried away unto these dumb idols.
Carried away. Carried away. Meaning there was a flood of vanities that overtook you and you just lost in the sauce. Right? You are carried away by dumb vanities. Dumb idols. Dumb means you can't speak. You have no life force. It's nothing behind what you're doing.
Right.
Christmas spirit is just so good. There's nothing behind putting a tree in your house, lighting up a star, lighting up the house. But what's next? A damn kitchen fire. How many Christmas trees catch fire every year? Light bill up the damn roof. Right. You remember the story of Bel and the dragon? When the priest was sneaking in at night and eating the damn food, and the people will wake up in the morning and say, "Oh my God, Bel has eaten what we offered them." Daniel was like, "Oh, that was good enough." And Daniel sprinkled some sand on the floor, and the priest went in, and the king was like, "Surely Bel is alive. Surely he's doing this. Dumbass." He woke up the next morning. Daniel was like, "Look, the food." The people came in. The food is gone. Daniel was like, "Oh, look, their footprints on the floor from last night. Come in and eat the damn food." Dumb vanity. Well, how stupid are you when you talking about Santa Claus's fat behind is riding on 12 reindeer? You're telling your kids this. 12 reindeer. How many reindeer? I don't know how many. One with a red nose that's lighting up the whole. He's the GPS. Santa, go left. He's a damn GPS system. He had a red nose that lighting up the dark Arctic. Right? He lives in the coldest society ever. Right? And he's leading the way to all the chimneys, and you're waking up talking about some eat these sugar cookies. You know different. And your son waking up, "Yay! Santa came here last night, he ate the cookie." You like this? He sure did. You're no different than them priests. Eating the food before Bel and the damn dragon. Estranged. You got cornrows in your head and a robe on, right? Red robe, right? With the Christmas slippers on, right? And like this, yeah, I'm with the fam right now, you know what I'm saying, son? Yeah, you know, Santa came through. What? Put from Santa on the thing. I knew Santa didn't exist when I was young. I was like Destiny. I'm black. She was no damn white guy flying around. Crazy. I had arguments in first grade and second grade. Talking about this. There ain't no damn Santa. You never say that again. I listen. I'm just not stupid, right? So people can be estranged, man. Your people, but speak up.
In school, and when people say this, like Santa's real, and I say it's not, and everyone's like,
That's it. Santa's not real? Oh my gosh. I can't believe you said that. You should be lynched. Right? And because, you know, they put in a kid's mind, you're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Like, they call you a Grinch because you don't believe in that bull crap. It's madness. But let's go to some other precepts. Jeremiah 2:21, Obadiah verse 12. We're gonna go into some we're gonna go to the next word, right? Because Israel, through them being estranged, and through these strange concepts and aspects and incontinencies, right, that we've developed through these idols, right, we can be called heathen by our own people. Right? Oh yeah, blow that up. Which we have the root word nakar. This also is translated into stranger. Right. H5234. Go down. That's the Strong's number. Go down to definition. Calamity, disaster, misfortune. Now I'm getting to this, right? Because when you go into this, the root word, but Nakarya, right, goes into heathen, right? But it says something strange, unexpected, strange. Go down. Obadiah 12, right? Let me give you, go to H523, I think it's 7. Right, because I'm going into context. I want
H237.
H2537. 2537. I wanted y'all to get that because when you go into what happened to our people, when the Bible says that they cut off our people in the straits, right? Our people fell to calamities, right? Which caused us to be in the condition we're in today.
Right.
Why we're separated from our God, following all of these heathenistic customs. Now, H2537. Or let me get it really quick. Yeah, Yeah, H5237. I said it backwards. H5237. What? So remember, when I'm building this up into Deuteronomy 29, remember, there's 4 words. Just like you have the word world, there's 3 words in the Greek. Oikomene, eon, and who knows the other one? Cosmos. No. So there's context to those. It's just the same thing with stranger. So here you go. Nakaria. Right? It's the second form, but it comes from the root word strange. But you could be estranged through calamity, etc. Right? Go down.
It says stranger, strange. Oh, Slakia. Strange. In a variety of degrees, applications, foreign, non-relative, adulterous, different, wonderful, alien, foreigner, outlandish, strange. Solomon sinned not because he married a Moabite or an Edomite. He sinned because he became estranged through strange women who were heathens, who were idolaters. Now you see how that can compile into you falling into a sin versus you being with a woman of your own kind, right? Whether mentally your own kind or of your own kind according to the flesh, and she's following suit with what we were supposed to follow, the laws, right? So Solomon sinned through him marrying strange women. Now, strange women are men's biggest downfalls. How do we know? Look at how they dress. They dress to lure men. So they'll become a damn painting overnight. You're like, you could see Picasso, Van Gogh, and a woman walk by. You ain't worry about no damn Picasso or Van Gogh. Stop lying. You're like, that dang, she look bad as all hell. Right? All a woman got to do is put on that decor. But it can be strange. So what does it do? It entices your flesh. And so that came with Solomon's fall. That came with Adam's fall when Eve began to learn. Remember when she said, when it says it was good for food, meaning it was good for the flesh. It tastes good. It feels good. Right? It's good for the belly. Right? So when we look at these words, we have to utilize its context. And Israel became one of those who was supping with the serpent and amongst all of the trees not being fruitful according to the Most High's plan for them. But they became strange trees, strange vines, a strange vineyard. The Lord, like, this ain't the vineyard I cultivated. This is strange to me. Go ahead.
This is when Israel went to destroy the Canaanites. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7. I'm going to start from verse 1 and stop all the way to 4. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into a land whither thou goest to possess it, and hast cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Havites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt not make no covenant with them, no show mercy unto them. Verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his sons,
Right.
nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. Verse 4. For they will turn away thy sons from following me, that they may serve other gods.
Turn. What does Zor mean? Turn away. They will turn your hearts from following me. Look at what you could do. God, he tell you to be a goody two-shoe, but you can stay out all night. I can show you a better life. It's good for the flesh, right? Just come feel good, right? Trust me, you won't die. Oh, that's your black ass will. Let's go up in that damn Canaanite and catch goddamn ancient herpes or AIDS, right? You trust me. You don't want that. Not no ancient pestilence. Israel was diving all up in that. Dive in it. Just like Trey Songz. Oh. But
So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. Verse 5. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire.
Cut it all down, destroy it, burn it to the ground, to ashes. That's what the Lord desired. But they became thorns in our sides, the scripture said in the book of Joshua, because we did not do that. And we turned aside and we became strange. Go to Jeremiah 2 and 21 now. This is Obadiah 12. No,
This is Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 21.
Uh-huh.
Yet I had planted thee a noble vine.
See, the Lord planted us to be a noble vine, one worthy, one that had dignity, right? One that could be, wow, this is a beautiful vineyard. We are a noble vine of all the families of the earth. Go ahead.
Holy of right seed. How then art thou turned into a degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me?
How did you turn into a damn degenerate plant? A strange vine. You're degenerates. The Lord is calling us degenerates. The Lord looking down from heaven and looking at Israel today and saying, these degenerate, strange people, man, weirdos. Right? Pants hanging down. Instead of smelling like frankincense, you smell like blunts, cigarettes, and black amounts. Right? Where are the princes that I once knew and smelled this sweet savor? Right? I don't favor them. Right? You became a strange vine. Go into that word strange. Right? In Jeremiah 2 and 21. Read that.
That word is H52:37.
H52:37. Here go Israel becoming strange. Heathen. Go ahead.
And that is strange in a variety of degrees and applications. Foreign, non-relative, adulterous, different, alien, foreigner, outlandish, strange.
You become like a foreigner through these idolatries, turned away, estranged in your mind. Okay? Obadiah, verse 12.
It's the book of Obadiah, verse 12. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger.
See? Well, this is talking about Esau. Esau, the day you rose to your occasion, you should have not looked on your brother Jacob. And the day he became a stranger, which goes back to that word when he fell to calamity. But he became what's called, Muslims look at us, right? And their Quran means to recite in the Syriac. It means to recite. Recite what? Their rendition of what they feel should have happened. Right. Israel fell. He should have chose Ishmael. Ishmael's the true chosen one. Why? Because you became a stranger to your God. You're an infidel. Look at the unfaithful degenerates. We should have stood up and the Lord should have chose Ishmael, Isaac, and Jacob. Right. If he would have known that they would have did this, man, he was supposed to choose. Sarah was evil for casting over Hagar. So now they got to jump into the narrative and try to twist the words of God. No, you're not twisting Genesis 17 and 18. The Lord shall establish his covenant with Isaac. Right? But Israel became estranged. Israel is hidden in history. Israel is in calamities. Right? Their God, they can't get to their God. Why? Because gross darkness is on them through vanity, through idolatry. And Israel keeps rejecting that light. But we know a third is going to, understand. But we're talking about majority of our people. Right? Now,
let's go. What's the word for strange right there? Give me that real quick.
That word here in Obadiah 12 is H5237.
See, same root, same core word. When you go into the word heathen, give me Exodus 12 and I believe 40. Yeah, where a heathen is not supposed to eat of the Passover. They're not. That's the law.
Right.
So you're a Moabite. You can't eat of the Passover lamb. But these Christian Israelites, right, are going to tell you, oh, the heathen can eat it.
This is Exodus chapter 12 and verse 43. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof.
There shall no stranger eat thereof. Okay? That's a holy thing. That's a holy convocation for the men of Israel. Right? So give me that word stranger.
That's H5237. Nakar.
Nakar, the same word. Which is what?
Foreign, alien, foreignness, that which is foreign. Foreigners, foreign gods, alien, foreigner, foreign.
Vanities.
Vanities.
Right? Now, a heathen is a foreigner. But even an Israelite in this case, you can't, if we have the Passover and some random J came in, I mean, what y'all eating? Y'all eating some lamb? You ain't eating this. You're not going to eat unto your unworthily unto condemnation.
Right.
This is a holy thing. This commemorates something. You ain't about to come here and think that this is a regular feast. This is a holy convocation. Right? So that word, it denotes foreigner, heathen, right? So Israelites can be likened unto heathen. Now go to the last link. This is where I want to capitalize on. Okay? This is the most confused word because it can denote heathen who are sojourning amongst Israel, like you have in Deuteronomy. Read Deuteronomy 28:43. Deuteronomy 28:43.
It's in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
So the stranger that is within thee. So what does that mean? The person who is amongst you as Israelites, that's not an Israelite, he's a sojourner because he's not in his native land, but he's sojourning with you. Well, guess what? He's going to come up very high. So let's get something, right? If the stranger, if this was going to be the tables turned on us, if they're being engrafted in, and this is one of the curses that will befall us, how on earth could this fit the heathen? Being engrafted in. You want to join these curses? Come on here and be persecuted. No, that's not taking place. Come on and join us in this curse canoe. Right? Will it come down this waterfall with us? No. Right? It doesn't make any sense. But the one who was sojourning amongst us, because you did have nations that vowed to serve Israel.
Right.
And that's what they were there for.
Through fear, too.
Right, through fear. We have mercenaries that fought in our wars like Uriah the Hittite, etc. Right, we had those things. Ruth, who was a Moabite, she was faithful. We're not taking them. The Roman centurion that said, Yahweh Shai, all you got to do is speak and the servant will be healed. He wasn't an Israelite. He had faith, but he wasn't a child of the kingdom. The kingdom was not for him. But he
He understood his position. When you go into the woman who Yahushua called a dog, this Syrophoenician woman, he said, because of this saying, your daughter is here.
Right.
We don't have a problem with the heathen knowing their position. We have a problem with you saying the heathen are entering into a covenant that's not for them, or entered into a covenant in Deuteronomy 29 with you not understanding the context. So let's go into this next word, guard. Right? Let's go to the definition, H1481. Right? Properly a guest, by implication a foreigner, alien, sojourner, stranger. So how could this work in context? I'm an Israelite, right? I go to Kawan's house. I say, yo, I'm gonna stay over for the weekend, man. You know what I'm saying? So we could go to Atlanta, right? I'm gonna stay the night at the house. He's gonna, Sister Izar, she's gonna prep some food probably, make sure Panah has a room to sleep in or blankets. I'm a guard. I'm within their gates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm within what they have as a household. I'm a sojourner. I'm a foreigner. I'm not gonna go in there. I'll make myself right here at home. Put my foot up on the deal.
Just like that too.
I'm getting my black behind kicked out. Put my boot up on your table. No. I know I'm a guest. I'm foreign to this. I'm going to excuse the bathroom. You might go into the damn bathroom and see a different faucet for turning the cold. It's damn steaming up the whole house. I'm like, how you turn the cold water on? Make it warm. They come, you got to do it like this and twist it that way. Right? Then come on. You're a foreigner. You're a guard. You're a guest. You're in the gates. Right? Got a little dog barking. He don't bite. Okay, cool. Keep him in the basement. Right? See what I'm saying? So there's context to that. Okay? So I gave just one scripture in Deuteronomy 28:43. Now it can apply to some heathen. But remember, I said you have subtext and pretext, which you will understand context. But then you have to apply supertext.
Right.
And these strangers, which when you go in Deuteronomy 29, the word is God. It's not the heathen non-Israelite. Because it doesn't fit with the narrative or the prophecy within the supertext. Yahushua said, I have not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. They don't fit in with the covenant. They don't fit in with the sins of the First Testament. They don't fit in with the sins. They don't fit in with the remission of sins that came by the blood of the covenant for the New Testament when Yahushua died. Right? When the children of Israel were around Mount Horeb in Sinai, he sprinkled the blood of the cattle on the people, on the elders, the captains of rank. He sprinkled it on everybody. On the book, right? And the children of Israel entered into the covenant. The word covenant means what? Bariath, which means the splitting or in between two flesh, which is something that's to be cut in between, right? That's why when you lie with a woman and you break her hymen and she bleeds, right? That was two flesh. You've entered into a contract with that woman and she was going to get, y'all were going to become married. Now both of you have to offer the duties of marriage. That came with blood. This covenant came with blood. When Abraham, when he entered into the covenant, he believed God. The Lord said, circumcise the foreskin. I want to see if everybody's circumcised the foreskin. You make all your servants circumcise their foreskin. That's the token of the covenant. Meaning that's the sign. But guess what? Abraham cut his foreskin, and a lot of people think Abraham said, still.
Lord God, I am Father. No, it didn't happen like that, man. Abraham was probably in fetal position for days. That was painful.
Right.
He was, oh, Sarah, give me the tea. Girl, give me the tea. Right? He believed in this God that he inflicted pain on himself. The servants was like, probably like, serious, Abraham? And everyone like, do it, all of you. Right? Or you will not abide amongst me. They try to make it seem like the servants entered into the covenant too. That was the token of the covenant. Right? You had to do it by the 8th day, but remember, Abraham was not 8 days old. So these new Israelites coming in from these estranged customs, strange and strangers, heathen in their minds, carried away by dumb idols. Guess what? Abraham's foreskin of his heart was circumcised. He believed God that he would inherit his promises. And that's what was accounted for righteousness. And so are these Israelites that could come back. Why? Because in that mountain it shall be seen. That crucifixion. And that's the way into us inheriting these promises, by that faith. See, Abraham had to circumcise his foreskin. That came with blood. Right? He didn't just, I believe God. No. He had to circumcise the foreskin of his members. And he was in pain, obviously, and he bled. And so did his servants. Then he had Isaac. Right? Then Isaac had Jacob. And then Jacob had the 12 sons, but the Lord did not establish the covenant with the other sons of Abraham. Right? He didn't establish the covenant with the servants of Abraham. That was just the sign of the covenant. And if a heathen wanted to serve Israel, they had to circumcise their foreskin, because that's a sign of the covenant. Doesn't mean they're in the covenant. Everybody with me? Okay? Did that mean I could take my daughter and give her to a Hamite that was serving it? No. They're not the covenant people. I must give her to an Israelite man. Okay? So now, let's go to Deuteronomy 14, right? Verse 27. Deuteronomy 14, verse 27.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 14 and verse 27. And the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him.
Now, a Levite, he didn't have any land, because he was the Lord's portion. He was the Lord's inheritance. Right? He dwelt in the suburbs and the outskirts of the people. He was a sojourner in the tribes. So if it was a Levite in Simeon, he was a guard. Right? If it was a Levite in Judah, he was a guard. Benjamin guard. The Levites. You had to take care of the Levites. He had no land inheritance. His job was to execute the laws according to his family. Right? Go ahead.
Thou shalt not forsake him, for he hath no part nor inheritance with thee.
Go ahead.
At the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates.
See, now he is a stranger within your gate. He is a guard or a sojourner within your gate. You're supposed to lay up your increase to him, because he don't have no land. The Lord is trying to give us a balance as the children of Israel, to take care of those who are in need. Now, did the Levites lack? No. But he created that balance with the Levites because the Lord predestined the Levites to be solely his inheritance. And the nation of Israel had to take care of him in the land. He didn't go out and work and have cattle and dig. He was the Lord's inheritance. Now he had a portion of where he lived, but you had to go yield your increase to him. Now, gates in this context means the whole area of the people, the community, the city, the suburb had to take care of him. Your gates, when y'all come together, I said, don't forget the Levite that's executing the laws for us. Don't forget the Levite when we have mirror issues we go into and he's opening up the law. Don't forget that when he was weaned from his mom's breast, right? He didn't know his mother or his father. He didn't have, hey son, here's a football. Hey dad. He didn't have that. He got sent off to the priests to learn the law under the priest of that area. Like Samuel under Eli. That's why the scriptures in Deuteronomy chapter 33, when it talks about Levi, it says he knew not mother nor father. You couldn't be up under your mother like, mommy. Right? What if your mom committed adultery? You like, no, mommy. No, you can't be partial to the law, Levi. So you had to be trained to love the Lord. That's why Levi means what? Join to the Lord. Right? You had to be joined to the Lord before mother and father. So you were a sojourner in the land of your people's inheritance. And the people had to take care of you. Right? Because of your office. Right? Go ahead.
And the Levite, because he hath no part, no inheritance with thee.
See? This is key. Because he have no inheritance with thee. Right? He was a sojourner amongst you. He was living in the tribe of Judah and he didn't own that land. He was solely the inheritance of the Lord. Go ahead.
And the stranger and the fatherless.
See? The sojourner. See? The fatherless. Now, just imagine, right? You are of the tribe of, let's say, Reuben. Your father dies. What happens? You're 13 years old. Your father dies. That mother is free, right? Because she's not bound to the husband no more. But what happens to the land? You may have to sojourn. Or what if you don't have a mother or a father, right? You, that mother, right? Or say for instance, your mother, we'll just leave it right there at that scenario. Your father dies. The mother, she marries another man. You go and sojourn under that new husband's house. Right? You're a sojourner as the fatherless. Or what if there's a child out there with no mother or father? You're going to leave them out there? No. Israelites did not believe in not taking care of the homeless child. They didn't believe in leaving orphans like how you see in Hollywood. They're running around, living under bridges. No, the Bible talks about taking care of the sojourner, taking care of the one that's roaming and foreign, and they don't have no inheritance. You bring him and you take him and you bring him into your gates if you have the substance. And you raise him up. And then he has to serve you for a period of time. Right? Then he could choose whether he wants to stay with you forever or leave. That was the law of a Hebrew servant. Right? So the fatherless, go ahead.
And the stranger and the fatherless and the widow.
And the widow, her husband dies. She's 78. She can't keep up like she used to. Right? That land is up for what? Foreclosure. Somebody else think about, I'm going to buy this land. Where does the widow go? She sojourns with a family member, a friend. Right? That's how it normally happens. She's a guard amongst this new family, who is her own people, amongst this new family's gates. She's living within their gates. Right? Go ahead.
And the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied. that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand which thou doest.
See that? So Israelites could be sojourners, strangers. Go to Leviticus 25:35. Right? Now there's many different scenarios. Bring that out.
This is Leviticus chapter 25, verse 35. And if thy brother be waxing poor and fallen in decay with thee,
If thy brother be waxing poor, he fallen in decay, like, man, lost my job. Somebody stole my damn oxen. You know how it was back then. Just bad stuff happened. Car broke down. My horse broke his leg. Right? You go through stuff. Right? You lose money. Right? You wax poor. Meaning you grow poor. You decrease. Go ahead.
then thou shalt receive him.
You supposed to receive your brother. You are your brother's keeper. You're supposed to take your brother in. Go ahead.
Yea, though he be a stranger.
Though he be what?
Though he be a stranger,
Within your gates. Go ahead.
or a sojourner, that he may live with thee.
See? That he may live with thee. He's a guard. Right? Go ahead.
Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury.
So when it says though he be a stranger, that means you may not know him too well, but he's serving you. Right? Get to know each other. Right? You're not supposed to exact usury or put interest on him. Go ahead.
Nor lend him thy visuals for increase.
Go ahead.
I am the Lord.
And don't lend him, everything that's in your house. Don't be like, well, you gotta pay rent for that. You gotta pay for this. You sleeping on my couch, $80. You eating my food, $75. All right. You let him get on his feet. What the Lord is saying. Right. Go ahead.
I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt to give you the land of Canaan and to be your God.
See, there's a purpose for why the Lord is teaching you to entreat your brother like that. Meaning you was a sojourner. You didn't have a home. You didn't have a place to go. I gave you a home. So when you see your brother like that, give him a space to go, comfort him, and let him get on his feet like I developed you. Go ahead.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 26 and verse 5. And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. And he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few and became there a great nation, mighty and populous.
You see, so when you yield your increase, this is a law. Going into when you yield your increase, you're supposed to say a prayer when you give your tithe. And you're supposed to say, and remember where Jacob come from. You got to remember, we think that it was just this glorious. No, Jacob was oppressed by Laban. He said he was a Syrian. He was called we were Israelites, of course. He was an Israel. He was a Hebrew, but he was considered a Syrian, not a Syrian, but Syrian, right? He was amongst his kindred, the Aramaic people that came from Aram, that came from Shem, for down around. This is where he got his wives from, and his midwife, and his handmaids. So he was a Syrian. So remember, Jacob worked in 14 years for Laban, for his two wives, oppressed, ready to perish. Then he went down into Egypt. He had to create that substance. He made children. He worked for the increase. He tilled the ground from whence he came. Like God told Adam. You're going to till the ground, meaning you got to get it from the bottom. Drake started from the bottom. Now we here. You ain't start from no damn bottom. Right? Now, if you want to talk about you being an Israelite, you definitely damn on the bottom. Even with all your little toys. But it ain't getting you nowhere.
But we got to work from the ground back up to get back to our heaven, to get back to our first estate that we fell from, right? And Jacob and them had to be pilgrims in the earth. They were sojourners. They were amongst strangers. Like, yeah, they had vision though, knowing what they were seeking, knowing why they were doing things. You don't think Abraham had private talks with Isaac? And Isaac had private talks, and Abraham had private talks. The grandfather of Jacob, and you gotta do this. Because the Lord is gonna look. You don't think Abraham was preaching to his children? Of course he was. You don't think Jacob was bestowing all of the vision and blessing inside of his sons, we call the patriarchs today, that make us up today? Of course. And they knew that they were pilgrims. Jacob said, my pilgrimage is 130-something years. He called his life a pilgrimage. He knew he was passing through this place. So the Lord is teaching us, just like you are a sojourner just passing through, you see your brother on the bottom, you take him in and you receive him. Right? That was a sojourner, a stranger. Right? Now let's go to Deuteronomy 29, verse 1.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, and verse 1. These are the words of the covenant which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab.
Read that one more time.
These are the words of the covenant.
Of the what?
Of the covenant.
Of the covenant.
Which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel.
Psalms 50 and 5. And Psalm 78 and 5.
This is Psalms chapter 50, verse 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice.
So those who have made a covenant with me by what?
Sacrifice.
By sacrifice. I wonder if the heathen made a covenant with the Lord by sacrifice. Give me Psalm 7. Give me Amos 5 and 25.
It's the book of Amos, chapter 5, and verse 25. Have ye offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel?
O house of Israel. Israel was the one making that covenant by sacrifice 40 years. He didn't say no other nation. He said, O house of Israel. Right? Psalm 78 and 5.
Psalm chapter 78, verse 5. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that they should make them known to their children.
Now that's the stipulation. If he appointed the law to Jacob, Jacob, keep this law or else you're going to break the covenant. Where is these heathen nations coming from? Where he's saying you got to keep the law or you're going to break the covenant. No, he made the covenant to Israel. And so when we read Deuteronomy 29, these are the words of the covenant. And so when we reach the point of strangers within the gates, we can understand the context of the strangers because we're going to resort to the Hebrew. And we went through all 4 words within the Hebrew to understand that context. Now, in context, there are strangers that are non-Israelites. Yes, in context. But when we talk about the covenant and we apply pretext and supertext in Deuteronomy 29, these strangers that are within the gates that we're going to read, they're Israelites. Okay? I'm going to prove that. Go ahead.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, and verse 2. And Moses called unto all Israel and said unto them, Ye have seen all that the Lord did before your eyes.
Ye have seen all that the Lord have done before your eyes. Go ahead.
Ye have seen all that the Lord did before your eyes in the land of Egypt unto Pharaoh, and unto all his servants, and unto all his land. the great temptations which thine eyes have seen, the signs and those great miracles. Yet the Lord hath not given you an heart to perceive, and eyes to see, and ears to hear unto this day.
See, the Lord did not give them that understanding. The understanding was to come in the near future for us to fully unravel the Lord's plan. Okay? And Abraham understood the Lord's plan. He knew this generation wasn't going to fully get it, but it was for a time in the near future. Right? Go ahead.
And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness.
See, Amos 5:25. Who gave the sacrifices in the wilderness? The house of who?
Israel.
The house of who?
Israel.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your clothes are not waxen old upon you, and thy shoe is not waxen old upon thy foot. You have not eaten bread, neither have you drunk wine or strong drink, that you might know that I am Yahweh, your God.
Now, you know there was Israelites cussing out Moses. Can't have no damn drink. What? Did you imagine Israelites? Come on, man. That generation's off, man. Yeah. They ain't had no wine or no strong drink neither. Just imagine your black behind out there in that damn water. You probably go off too. There's a lot of Israelites resorting to that system of myrrh, snatching the bottle up. Eat that right after work. Go, pretty go. Right? Drinking that bottle down. But these Israelites, they needed to be detoxed. That's what the Lord was doing. But they were frustrated because they wanted to go back to the life that Egypt was. Not life. Lifestyle, I should say. Right? Go ahead.
And when you came unto this place, Sihon, the king of Heshbon, and Og, the king of Bashan, came out against us unto battle, and we smote them. We took their land and gave it for an inheritance unto the Reubenites, and to the Gadites, and to the half tribe of Manasseh.
So there now, Deuteronomy means what? Anybody know?
Second law.
Second law. So they're reiterating, right, the laws before they're summarizing all of the laws. Why? Moses is about to pass on. It's a new generation. Remember, the older generation, they couldn't go and inherit the land. So now there's a new generation, 40 years. Now they matured into this, to their adult stage, right? So Moses is reiterating the history of what took place to this generation in the book of Deuteronomy. So before they crossed the Jordan, Moses is reiterating this law to the new generation. Right, go ahead.
Keep therefore the words of this covenant, and do them, that ye may prosper in all that ye do. Ye stand this day, all of you, before the Lord your God, your captains of your tribe.
Now right there, we're going to take it slow. We're going to walk down this brick road, right? We're going to build a straight path of common sense, okay? And comprehension, reading comprehension, 101. Start that over.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29 and verse 10. Ye stand this day, all of you, before the Lord your God.
Who's the God of this? Whose God is this? Israel's God, right? So your God, go ahead.
Your captains of your tribes.
Your captains of your tribes. That means when we read Numbers, there was captains set up over the tribes. Right? Go ahead.
Your Salakia, your captains of your tribes, your elders, and your officers,
right?
with all the men of Israel.
With all the men of Israel. Now, why isn't the Bible, when other nations came out that wanted to make a covenant with Israel, they'll say the Gibeonites, right? They'll say another nation, right? Go to Jericho, smite them. Rahab comes out the wall. She's an example of faith, etc. Why doesn't it say with all the men of Israel and all the other nations that are amongst you? It doesn't say that. You know why? Because the other nations are not entering into a covenant. The mixed multitude was killed in the book of Numbers. This is a new generation. Okay? Go ahead.
Your little ones, your wives, and thy stranger that is in thy camp.
Now, thy stranger that is within thy camp. Now, when it says within thy camp, because Israel didn't have a system or government necessarily. They were governed by the laws, but they were still in migration mode. Right? Now, when it says your little ones, your wives, and thy stranger that is within thy camp. Some people say, see, the strangers were with Israel and they were entering into the covenant. Somebody give me that word for stranger right here.
That word for stranger at Deuteronomy 29 in verse 10 is H16:16. That is gar, a temporary inhabitant, a sojourner, a newcomer and lacking inherited rights.
So, what this is denoting, now I want you guys to rewind your mind and jump into this time capsule. Okay? When Israel was in the wilderness, were there people who became widows? Of course. Were there fatherless children? Of course. Were there servants? Were Israelites? Now, if you look at some Arab tribes, there are some Arab tribes that still live in tents, and they've been living there for decades, centuries. And they have communities in the desert, right? And they live in tents, and they dance, and they have their feasts, and they live. Israel was living in the wilderness for 40 years. Imagine from 1960 to 2000. That's a long time in our age. You had the civil rights movement, you got the damn hippies movement, you had the synthetic music movement, then you had the 90s golden era to 2000. That's a big gap of time for humanity. They were there for 40 years. They were evolving to a degree, etc. Now, there were widows. There were Israelites who were waxed poor, right? And who were working for Israelites within their camp. You didn't think Israelites were serving other Israelites and sojourning amongst families? Of course. You had some that, and see what's happening is it's teaching you, okay, your officers, your elders, it's what? The status and rank. So from the top, the captains, from Joshua, Moses, all the way down to the one sojourning amongst you in your camp, the one that's doing what? Read the next portion.
Your little ones, your wives, and the stranger that is in thy camp, from the hewer of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water.
Because we were in the wilderness, one was hewing wood for you, one was sojourning amongst you. There was Israelites that lived amongst other Israelites. So it's from the head to the tail. The Israelite that's hewing wood, the Israelite that's drawing water. Okay? It's from the sojourner all the way up to the damn captains. Even you, Moses. Go ahead.
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 5. As when a man goeth into the wood with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetcheth a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slippeth from the helve, and lighteth upon his neighbor that he die, he shall flee unto one of those cities and live.
Right. So this is an instance where you hewing wood in an act of it's a manslaughter. You accidentally kill him. They had what? They had cities of refuge, right? Where you can hide, where people won't, come together and avenge. Right? The Lord has safe havens for you. So somebody was hewing wood for Israelites in the camp. Someone was drawing water. No different than Jeffrey in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Y'all watching the show? No different than Jeffrey in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air working for Uncle Phil. It was an Israelite working for an Israelite. Jeffrey had his own room in the house. Right? Jeffrey served them water. Jeffrey, yes, Master Williams. Right? That's the perfect example. From the oldest to the youngest, from the top captain, scribe, to the sojourner living amongst you. That's all this is talking about. Right? There was a 89-year-old woman, there was a 38-year-old woman, right, who was a baby at the time the flood happened, right? And her husband probably passed away. She's a widow now. She's sojourning with a new family. This was happening in the wilderness. Okay? She would be considered a sojourner within the camp. Right? Go ahead.
Your little ones, your wives, and thy stranger that is in thy camp, from the hewer of thy wood unto the drawer of thy water, that thou shouldest enter into the covenant with the Lord thy God, and unto his oath, which the Lord thy God maketh with thee this day.
Right. Go to Nehemiah 10:29.
Okay. It's the book of Nehemiah, chapter 10 and verse 29. They clave to their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse and into an oath to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses, the servant of God, and to observe and do all the commandments of the Lord our Lord, and his judgments and his statutes.
Start from 28. Yeah.
28. It's the book of Nehemiah, chapter 10 and verse 28. And the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nethinims.
The Nethinims, that means, Nathan means the giver. Right? These are a particular sect of priests. Right? And the office. Right? Go ahead.
The Nethinims, and all they that had separated themselves from the people of the lands unto the law of God.
See, they separated themselves from the people of the land to the law of their God. Because the land was what? It was amalgamated with heathen. Go ahead.
Their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone having knowledge and having understanding.
Mm-hmm.
They clave to their brethren, their nobles, and
They clave to who?
They clave to their brethren, their nobles, and entered into a curse and unto an oath to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses, the servant of God, and to observe to do all the commandments of Yahweh our Lord, and his judgments and his statutes.
There you go. You can see that this is solely talking about Israelites. And it goes back to when we entered into the oath, but because we failed, we entered into what? The curse. That's why in Daniel chapter 9, verse 11, it says, the curse that was written in Moses hath fallen on all of the whole house of Israel. So this is us entering into this oath. Right? Go back to Deuteronomy 29.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 29, and verse 12. That thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahweh our God, and into his oath, which the Lord thy God maketh with thee this day, that he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee a God, as he hath said unto thee, and as he hath sworn unto thy fathers.
Read that again. As he hath what?
As he hath said unto thee, and as he hath sworn unto thy fathers.
Everyone take a highlighter, right? And I put y'all, just for record, highlight thy fathers. This is reading comprehension. Reading comprehension. Thy fathers. If he's saying thy fathers, who is he talking to? The children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Where did these heathen come from? I have no idea. But clearly it's saying, I'm talking to you, right? The oath and the covenant I made with your fathers. Right? That's who he's talking to. The children of these particular fathers. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Go ahead. Now, they trip on verse 14 as well. Go ahead.
Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before the Lord our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day.
So they take this and they say, see, it's the heathen that comes and joins. No. The Lord is very meticulous with how we receive things, because he knows. This is why Paul says in many cases, what shall we say then? Right? Because he know you was going to be in your carnal mind and say, well, that was for that generation. They entered into the covenant. Nah, it wasn't us. We the new generation. No, the Lord said, no. Y'all, this generation that's around in this land right now, and for them that are not with us today, with us this day. That's talking about us too, and all the generations. So this goes for every single one of y'all. The ones that's not even here today. The souls that's not living and breathing. Jeremiah, he comes later. David, he comes later. Right? Gideon, he comes later. Samuel, he comes later. He wasn't standing with that generation that day, but he also entered into that covenant. You know Isaiah 44, verse 2. Yeah.
So
let me get this.
Yeah, go ahead.
This about this.
This is Isaiah chapter 44, verse 2. Thus said the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb.
See, the Lord that formed thee from the womb,
which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jeshurun, whom I have chosen.
See, Jeshurun, whom I have chosen. So we were chosen from the womb. So we were born and told we entered into a covenant with our God. We have to keep this law. Right? The God of the universe, he's our God. The God of the heaven and the earth, he's our God. Right? All right, go ahead.
So would this also be referring to your generation? Because I want to read a verse and see what you thought. Because Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 3, it says, the Lord made not this covenant with our fathers, but with us, even us, who are all of us here alive this day. The Lord talked with you face to face in the mount out of the midst of the fire. So this is literally 40 years later.
Right.
But he's saying he made this covenant with you. Is he saying, like,
well, I would say holy. How I look at reincarnation, a lot of people look at regeneration, I should say. Some people think you died last year, and then you born. You have a baby. Somebody has a baby 5 years later. I think that's Joshua. He came back. No, I don't see it like that. I see it like unto the third and the fourth generation, which could be centuries. The Lord said that Israel or Abraham's seed would leave Egypt in the book of Genesis 15 in the 4th generation. So I look at that fixing. Go back. I look at that as a period of about 430 years. Right? You know why? Because the Lord said unto the 3rd and the 4th generation, visit the iniquity of the fathers unto the 3rd and the 4th generation. So if he said that Israel will leave in the 4th generation, then what does that tell you? That's a period of about 400 some odd years. So I believe we're a generation. Like we're a generation, and the average life of man is about 120, 100 years. So you multiply that by 4, average, you get around about 430. We in America, how long? 400 some odd years. See what I'm saying? So we're entering into that, we're that 4th generation getting ready to come out. Right? But I believe possibly maybe 400 years prior, as the pages unfolded, we lived before. We were somebody. But the generations never mixed in. The Lord don't intertwine generations. He says somewhere in the scriptures where he don't mix generations. I forget where it is. It's somewhere. See what I'm saying? One generation comes, the next one goes. It's a recycle. Just like how you see the sun and the moon. It's always circling, right? Just like you see the rain falls and it comes back up, evaporates, falls. The wind, our circuits. That's how the souls are, right? So, yeah, that's how I look at that scripture. Well, I say, with you, I believe he was talking to Moses solely concerning that. Because that generation entered into the covenant as well, remember? The blood was sprinkled on them. No blood sprinkled on us. But that entering into the covenant was the separation of the flesh, which was the sign. See what I'm saying? Because blood was shed. Just like Yahweh Shai. That blood was shed and sprinkled right on the heavenly tabernacles. Right? That's Hebrews explains the representation of the figure that understand. Right? Go back to Deuteronomy.
So book of Deuteronomy chapter 29 in verse 14. Neither with you only do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before the Lord our God, and also with him that is not here with us this day.
Meaning for generations, those that come after. Right? Verse 16.
Verse 16. For ye know how we have dwelt in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the nations which ye passed by. And ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. Lest there should be among you man or woman or family or tribe whose heart turneth away this day from Yahweh our God to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. And
now, somebody will look upon it and be like, even though David said, I looked upon the prosperity of the wicked, and my foot almost slipped. So the Bible said, fret not at the prosperity of the wicked. Right? Don't fret at their laughter. Don't deck the halls with balls off. Don't get mad at that. Don't think they're having a good time. Okay? They're wearing flammable apparel. Okay? And that day is brutal. Okay? Go ahead.
Verse 19. And it come to pass, when he heareth the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace.
See? Don't think, see, this is for those even to come after. Right? What are people saying? This goes along with why prophets came out again and saying, listen, we are under this curse. Don't think peace is coming. The Lord's going to judge you for this. Come out of idolatry. Israel got to come out of that. You know what they said? Go tell Edom to stop committing idolatry. right? Micah 4 and 3. Isaiah 11 and 10. And somebody give me Deuteronomy 4 and 17. The Lord gave the nations these stumbling blocks. Go ahead. Micah, yeah.
It's the book of Micah, chapter 4 and verse 3. And he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. But they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of Yahweh of hosts hath spoken.
That's what I want.
For all people will walk every one in the name of his God.
See, that's a decree. All people going to walk in the name of his God, right? Go ahead.
For all people will walk every one in the name of his God, and we will walk in the name of Yahweh our God forever and ever.
See, we're going to walk in the name of our God. The Lord was talking to the children of Israel. When you see these heathen, don't think that, oh, no curse is going to befall me. I'm going to have peace. Right? What does 2 Thessalonians 5 and 3 say? When they shall say peace, there shall be sudden destruction. Right? The battle cry and the warning and the trump has been sounded through the prophets, through the evangelists, through the apostles, through the teachers, through the pastors, saying, come out of this system, come out of Babylon. People say, nothing's going to happen to me. This curse is not going to befall me. You're going to be judged because you entered into the oath. And that goes for you who is not standing with that generation, right, today. That goes for you too. Go ahead. Isaiah 11 and 10.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 11 and verse 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign. Yes, 11 and 10. Yep.
10 and 11. So
10 and 11.
It's 10 and 11.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 10 and verse 11.
What 10?
10 and 10?
Yeah. No.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 10 and verse 10. As my hand hath found the kingdoms of the idols, and whose graven images did excel them, of Jerusalem and of Samaria, shall I not, as I have done unto Samaria and her idols, so do to Jerusalem and her idols?
You see, he's jealous over Samaria and Jerusalem, the two kingdoms, when it comes down to them committing idolatry. But he said, I founded the kingdoms of the idols. So the Lord gave the nations all of the stars and the moon and the sun to worship. When you read Deuteronomy 4 and 17, he said he divided them amongst the nations. No wonder why you see a sun, right, for sun worship that Christians follow, and the moon, right, for moon worship, with the star, and they worship Venus and worship all of these. They're dismayed by them. The Lord put that delusion on them. But you're going to enter into this oath, and you're going to be my people. You are going to worship me, right? We don't got to go to Deuteronomy. I'm gonna jump ahead. We're gonna read straight through Deuteronomy 29.
Let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 29 and verse 19. And it comes to pass when he heareth the words of this curse, that he blessed himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of mine heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. The Lord will not spare him, but then the anger of Yahweh and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him. And Yahweh shall blot out his name from under heaven.
There you go. It's going to be blotted out from the book of life. You had Israelites that created all of the religions we see today, right? The Lord is going to remove that from these Israelites. And believe it or not, a lot of the idolatry came from Israelites. Okay? Go ahead.
And the Lord shall separate him unto evil out of all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant that are written in this book of the law. so that the generation to come of your children that shall rise up after you, and the stranger that shall come from a far land shall say, when they see the plagues of that land and the sickness which Yahweh hath laid upon it, and that the whole land thereof is brimstone and salt and burning, that it is not sown nor beareth, nor any grass groweth therein, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, which Yahweh overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. Even all nations shall say, wherefore hath Yahweh done this unto this land? What meaneth the heat of this great anger? The men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of Yahweh, God of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. For they went and served other gods, and worshipped them, gods whom they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them. The anger of Yahweh was kindled against this land, to bring it upon all the curses that are written in this book. And Yahweh rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land as it is this day. The secret things belong unto Yahweh our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law.
See, the secret things belong unto Yahweh our power, but those things which are revealed, meaning what he desires to reveal to us concerning prophecy, concerning mystery, concerning all the enigmas, it says, belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. That was revealed to the children of Israel. That's why the children of Israel are being revealed from heaven what happened to us. That's why we're coming to the realization. And it's a secret to the heathen. They don't know. So how could the mystery in Ephesians 3:1 be revealed to the Gentiles? The secret and the mystery is revealed unto the children of Israel. And the mystery is, how could a God be so merciful that he give his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, according to the curses of this book, but have everlasting life, according to the promises of this book, by that death. That's what this is about. But people will get tripped up on the word stranger, not going to etymology, not utilize supertext, pretext, and they misappropriate the context. So everybody got that understanding? I'm gonna close out. Everybody understand? So if you was pressed in the debate, or somebody said, look at here, these Deuteronomy 29 is strangers. Just rewatch the video, take notes. Get the Hebrew definitions down packed of stranger. Right? There's 4. Just like you got to have the Greek words down packed for world. Same as for the stranger. Know the precepts, know the angles, and just know the breakdown concerning this chapter. Because, they'll have you thinking that heathen was entering into the covenant, which makes no sense.
So I have a question. Because you were going over the topic of strangers, the Christian's gonna try to somehow squeeze the heathens can be saved. But my question is in Deuteronomy 23:7, when it says, "You shall not hate an Edomite," and the scripture says that the Edomites in Obadiah, they're gonna be obliterated. So my question is, a lot of people say that that verse don't mean Edomites, it means something else as well. So I'm not.
That's so when you go into the scribal, when you look at the word Edom, right? You go, it's A, Da, Wa, Ma, right?
You go into Adawam,
Oh, okay.
right? You go into Syrian. Those descendants come from Aram. Go into the word Deuteronomy. I want Syrian.
23
Go to 20, Deuteronomy 26 and 5. Right, and get the word Syrian.
So look at Deuteronomy chapter 26 and verse 5. It says, and thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian, ready to perish, was my father. That word Syrian is H761. Aramya,
meaning descendant of Aram. Right? So when you go into the Resh, which is the rock, and the Daleth, they look very similar. Now just imagine a scribe or a fragment of information or a manuscript where you were writing with ink, right? Now they could say, this has to be Edomite. Because that's a Daleth. No, that's a Resh. No. What I believe is if 3 chapters later it says, what you got?
I'm holding something.
So you see how it says Da Ma Ya. Salaki, I said why? Adamya, which is Edomite, descendant of Edom. Now you see, I'm gonna hold this up. Yeah, put it on the camera. Oh, camera, you gotta put it up there, right? See how the similarities of the words?
Let me know when you can see it.
There's a possible clerical error.
I'm gonna try to brighten it
There's
up.
a little glare on
Yeah, I'm gonna make it brighter.
Yeah.
Let me know if you can see it.
Now you see that, right? Yup. You see, you got Aramya and you got Adamya, right? Which is descendant of Edom and descendant of Aram, which is Assyrian, right? See that? You see the Resh and you see the Daleth, the word that's after the the Aleph. Do you see it? I'm asking you.
Yeah, I see it. So this is two different
Words, but they look similar.
Oh, okay.
See
What
the
makes
Resh
it
and the
similar?
Daleth?
The Resh and the Daleth, the word after the Aleph.
Okay, come.
You see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Now you see how it could be mistaken, but if it's a Daleth or a Resh,
Right.
right? So how I view this, you can go sit back down, right? How I view this is, why would the Lord mention the connection between the Syrian and the Egyptian in Deuteronomy 26? Right? Why would he say a Syrian was my father ready to perish? Now that's Aramya, right? Which is Aramaic. When he was with Laban. I said La oppressed him earlier. I think I said, but I meant to say Laban.
You said Laban.
I said Laban? Okay. So when he was amongst Laban, and Laban was oppressing Jacob, he was a Syrian ready to perish. Then it says he went down into Egypt. So you was amongst the Syrians, you got substance from the Syrians, then you went into Egypt. Now, when you go to Deuteronomy 23 verse 7, it says, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. I believe that that's a possible clerical error.
Right.
Go ahead, yeah.
So it says that in Deuteronomy chapter 23 and verse 7, but then you read Deuteronomy 25 and verse 17, it says, remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when you were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. Therefore it shall be, when the Lord thy God hath given thee rest from all thine enemies about, in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven, thou shalt not forget it.
Now is Amalek an Edomite? So why is the Lord saying blot out Amalek? Right? That would be mistreating an Edomite and from offering a sacrifice to the Lord, because that's what Deuteronomy 23 is talking about.
Right.
Right. So the Lord contradicted himself? No. And I'm not making this up. Because in some instances, even when you go into the Strong's, it says clerical error.
It says it right here.
You see it?
You want me to pull it up?
Yeah, pull it up.
All right, so when you go down here, it's
What does it say, clerical
H726. I'm gonna put it up on the screen for everybody.
Right, H726.
H726 shows us a clerical error for Edomite. Can you see that? H726.
Yep.
Clerical error for Edomite. Syrian.
A clerical error
So it should say
for H130.
right there.
Oh, okay, yes.
See that?
All right.
That's the Strong's, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it says it's a clerical error.
All
So
right.
if it would make more sense to say, "Thou shalt not hate a Syrian, for he is thy brother," than an Egyptian. Because right when you jump to Deuteronomy 26, why it says a Syrian was my father? Why? Because Isaac was told to go where? Padan Aram, to be amongst the Syrians, your kindred. So was Jacob, right?
Right.
Because the Syrians were kin to who? Abraham, right?
Right.
It's obvious Esau is Jacob's brother, but Esau was hated and rejected. So how I look at this scripture is the Lord is trying to pass a message to Israel, right? Not to abhor the Syrian people, right?
Yeah.
Because you are even on the altar supposed to say, "A Syrian was my father, ready to perish."
It just makes more sense because, those, like, how do I say, because they want to, they're so worried about engrafting, like, they forget these little holes in their, they're saying, but what if they say, like, oh, that's just Amalek, but, oh, they can come in, you know what I'm trying to say?
Kinda. Like, you say only for Amalek, they can only be eradicated, but the other Edomites.
Yeah, because, the topics nowadays is like, they're pushing in, like, oh, they know who the Israelites are, so they're going to try to push in that narrative,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's the book of Numbers, chapter 24, verse 17. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth. And Edom shall be a possession, and Seir also be a possession for his enemies. And Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city. And when he looked upon Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be, he shall perish forever.
Right. But that was from the days of Numbers. He's an Edomite, Amalek. So I'm under the persuasion that is a clerical error. I'm under that persuasion because you when you look at and you compare Deuteronomy 26 when he says your father was a Syrian, right, and went down into Egypt. No different than the Lord utilizing these two nationalities, Assyrian, thou shalt not hate an Assyrian, right, nor an Egyptian. Why? Because you were amongst these two people groups. You utilized these people's sources at some point. You was amongst them, right? So don't forsake them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To a degree, right?
It is understood. Like I said, I'll just skip, like, I just know the video, like, I'll just do some more research. It's late, and I'll skip this again.
Come.
Appreciate the water.
Right. Come. All right, we're going to rise and face the east. Hope it up. It's getting late.
This is Psalm chapter 95. Oh, come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgivings, and make a joyful noise unto him with psalms. For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods, and his hands are the deep places of the earth. The strength of the hills is his also. The sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. All come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. For he is our God, and we are the people of his pasture, and the sheep of his hand to the day, if you will hear his voice. Harden not your hearts, as in the provocation, and as in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my work. 40 years long was I grieved with this generation, and said, it is a people that do err in their heart, and they have not known my ways, unto whom I swear in my wrath that they should not enter into my rest.
Amen.
Amadra Shabbat, Abadja, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua
Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakatam.
Ayo, Shalom.